Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Marine. Crazy. You call it a ninja. Chapter 21. This time, after he integrated Senju Tobarama's chakra perception, perhaps there was a chain reaction, and he directly upgraded the observation haki, which was just a junior, to the highest level. If there is no estimation error, his observation haki should be comparable to New World's great pirate Charlotte Katakuri, reaching a state where he can see part of the future. Haha, this is also an unexpected joy. Soon, after getting used to it, Luo showed a satisfied look, and stretched leisurely. Every time you practice, there will be surprises. He is more and more looking forward to the fusion of second Hokage Senju Tobarama's character template. Once the fusion is complete, then his strength will definitely surpass Senju Tobarama at his peak. Thinking of this, Luo turned his eyes and looked at a box beside the training ground. Inside the box is a zone devil fruit, a gift from Mr. Zephyr. Originally, this time, Zephyr brought Marine recruit to West Blue to practice, and Zephyr wanted to give Luo this devil fruit to make up for his dereliction of duty as a teacher. As a result, an accident happened, and it was discovered that the 3 years of snow in Naval headquarters not only did not make Luo disappear, but it was more powerful than expected. So, Zephyr was relieved, and some knots in his heart were opened. However, devil fruit was still kept by him. In his words, "If you don't want to eat, you can sell it to subsidize the daily expenses of the West Blue Marine T3 branch." To this, Luo accepted without thinking. Originally, he wanted to wait a while to get some valuable things in West Blue in exchange for a little lottery point. Now that he doesn't need it, he can exchange this devil fruit first. As for eating this devil fruit, just forget it. Luo didn't want to leave any weakness, out of sight and out of mind. Still, don't eat devil fruit, just exchange it. System, how many lottery points can be exchanged for this devil fruit? After a few seconds, Luo took the devil fruit in the box in his hand and asked with some anticipation. Ding, host, you can exchange 200,000 lottery points. Ah, listen to the system prompts. Luo's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Nimas, anyway, this is also a devil fruit. If you sell it, it will cost at least 100 million Baileys. As a result, it was only exchanged for 200,000 lottery points. Isn't the system too stingy? To know, in addition to a free random lottery opportunity given by the God-level lottery system every 6 months. I want to draw a lottery. It is necessary to rely on the lottery points to exchange for random lottery opportunities. 10,000 lottery points can be exchanged for a primary lottery chance, 100,000 lottery points can be exchanged for an intermediate random lottery chance, and 1 million lottery points can be exchanged for an advanced random lottery chance. Now this devil fruit, it can only be redeemed for the second intermediate random lottery chance. So, Luo felt that there were some pitfalls. Forget it, let's recycle it. Mosquitoes are also meat when they are small. If you can exchange a little lottery point, just exchange a little bit. Ding, a devil fruit was successfully recovered, and the host received 200,000 lucky draw points. The mechanical sound of the system resounded in Luo's mind. System, I'm going to take a look at the properties panel. The next moment, Luo commanded in a low voice. Ding, host's latest property panel is being generated. Ding, the latest attribute panel is generated. Dash. Host, Luo, age, 15 years old. Abilities, Shave Intermediate, Iron Body Intermediate, Paper Arts Intermediate, Moonwalk Intermediate, Tempest Kick Intermediate, Finger Pistol Intermediate, Observation Haki, Top Armament Haki, Beginner, Second Hokage, Senju Tobarama's Template Unlock Fusion 61%, Gentle Fist Grandmaster, White Eyes, Junior Sage Body, Flying Thunder God Technique, Forbidden Technique, Basic Water Style. Character Summons, Hoshigaki Kisame. Random Lottery. 0 times. Draw points. 200,000 points. Okay, I finally have a top-level ability. Probably glanced around. Luo's eyes couldn't help falling on observation haki. To know, top observation haki, even in New World, it is rare. He now has a top-level observation haki, and his strength is almost improved. Especially with the Flying Thunder God technique, it is simply perfect. However, do you want to exchange for the second intermediate random lottery to play? After a few seconds, Luo Lei's eyes fell on the 200,000 lottery points, and there was a faint impulse in his heart. In the words of the system, beginner lottery, intermediate lottery, advanced lottery, all can draw good things. It is nothing more than a question of the probability of drawing good things. The probability of the advanced lottery is definitely the highest, but he only has 200,000 lottery points now, and the distance from redeeming an advanced lottery is indeed a little far. Go for a bike and turn it into a motorcycle. If you can use the chance of intermediate lottery to draw some good things, wouldn't it be a happy thing? System, exchange for the second intermediate random lottery. In the end, Luo Lei, who was hesitant, couldn't resist his inner impulse, and gave a neat order. Ding. Host, 200,000 lottery points were consumed and exchanged for 2 intermediate random lottery chances. Do you want to use it? Use. Give me a pump first. Ding. With the sound of a gear turning. Within the translucent space that Luo Lei could only see, a large lottery roulette began to spin slowly. Ding. Congratulations to host, I have drawn 10 fairy beans. As the pointer stopped on a small grid, the mechanical voice of the system also sounded in Luo Lei's mind. It's actually a fairy bean. The beep just dropped. Luo Lei's expression became a little surprised. It's incredible. The things I got this time are not from the Hokage world. It's something in the world of Dragon Ball, the so-called fairy beans, which is the name of a magical food in 7 Dragon Ball. As long as one eats one, it can quickly recover from injury. And the fact is that, after getting the fairy beans, the basic introduction about the fairy beans also appeared in Luo Lei's mind. Immortal beans. You will not be hungry for at least 10 days after eating one, and have the power of regeneration. As long as the person is not dead, they can recover their physical strength and energy in the shortest time, nearly instant during extreme fatigue, and readjust the body to the best state. Luo Lei smiled and nodded happily. In the first lottery draw, he got fairy beans. For the second lottery draw, his expectations were immediately full. System, the chance to use the second intermediate draw. The voice did not fall. The roulette wheel of the lottery began to spin again. Ding. Congratulations to the host, I have drawn the sage body of first Hokage Senju Hashirama. After a few seconds, another mechanical voice resounded in Luo Lei's mind. Listening to Luo Lei, he was stunned for a while, as if he didn't react at all. No way, it never occurred to him. The second intermediate lottery chance was directly drawn to the sage body of first Hokage Senju Hashirama. This kind of happiness came too suddenly, right? Originally, the lottery chance he presented through the system. It was a primary sage body that was drawn, and as the strength increased, it became more and more insufficient. It's good now. Straight to one step, I got the sage body of first Hokage Senju Hashirama. And sage body, as the name suggests, is a very powerful physique, which can enable people to have a chakra comparable to a tailed beast, strong resilience, extraordinary physical strength, and more importantly, any ordinary ninjutsu can be used in the huge sage body. With the blessing of Cha Thunla, the rot was turned into a miracle. The most direct performance is first Hokage Senju Hashirama's Chatla. Actually, as second Hokage, Senju Tobarama also has sage body. But there is no doubt that Senju Tobarama is very far from his brother Senju Hashirama in terms of chakra and strength, and the level of development of sage body cannot be compared with Senju Hashirama. Now Luo Lei smoked first Hokage Senju Hashirama's sage body. A transformation can be achieved directly. Chakra can also be transformed into Chatanla, and the resilience and physical strength can be improved by several grades. Host, do you extract the sage body that fuses Senju Hashirama? Sudden. Just at this time, the mechanical sound of the system rang out. Extract. Luo Lei took a deep breath and said something in a firm tone. Ding. Host, pay attention. Host, pay attention. First Hokage Senju Hashirama's sage body has started to distribute. Boom. In an instant, Luo Lei could only feel the endless chakra energy emerging from his body. Influenced by. In an instant, his body seemed to be swollen, and the almost terrifying Chatanla was surging frantically, causing earth-shaking changes to take place in his body. At this time, if someone is in this sea, you will find that countless natural energies visible to the naked eye have gathered in the sky above the T3 branch, and they are all gathering crazily on Luo Lei's body. What a majestic chakra fluctuation, Could it be the sage body? Hoshigaki Kisame, who was cultivating moonwalk, stopped for some reason, and looked at Luolei with envy and shock. As a ninja, of course he knew what sage body meant. Once the fusion is complete, I am afraid that the strength of the boss Luolei will become stronger again. At that time, chakra may be more than his ninja known as the tailless beast. 1 minute. 10 minutes, half an hour. Finally. After an hour, the vision caused by this natural energy gathering gradually stopped. As the source of all this, Luolei's body has also achieved a transformation, completely transformed into sage body. Chakra seems to be inexhaustible, physical fitness has also improved, vitality is unprecedentedly strong, and resilience has become stronger. Soon, feel the changes in your body. While Luolei was excited, he couldn't help clenching his fists. With sage body, it is really cool, and more importantly, with the blessing of sage body, he can perform ninjutsu, and he no longer has to be afraid. Chakra. No, it's Chatanla now, and it can be used without any scruples. Especially water style, with the blessing of sage body. I'm afraid it will burst out with a power that is stronger than second Hokage Senju Tobarama. The only regret is that he has only now unlocked and fused second Hokage Senju Tobarama's character template to 61%. It simply cannot exert its strongest strength. Looks like I'm going to work harder and try to integrate second Hokage Senju Tobarama's character template as soon as possible. Before long, Luolei took a deep breath and said expectantly, "System, I want to take a look at the property panel." Ding. Host's latest property panel is being generated. Ding. The latest attribute panel is generated. Dash. Host. Luolei. Age. 15 years old. Abilities. Shave Intermediate, Iron Body Intermediate, Paper Arts Intermediate, Moonwalk Intermediate, Tempest Kick Intermediate, Finger Pistol Intermediate, Observation Haki, Top Armament Haki Intermediate, Second Hokage Senju Tobarama's Template Unlock Fusion 61%, Gentle Fist Grandmaster Buy-in, Senju Hashirama's Sage Body, Flying Thunder God Technique, Forbidden Technique, Basic Water Style. Character Summons. Hoshigaki Kisame. Random Lottery. 0 times. Draw point. 0. Dash. Sure enough. After a quick glance, Luolei nodded thoughtfully. After merging Senju Hashirama's sage body, his armament haki has actually been strengthened, from elementary to intermediate. The only regret is that Conqueror's haki still has no clue. But Luolei is not in a hurry. He has no marine servility. Awakening Conqueror's haki is only a matter of time. Hoshigaki Kisame is actually the same, and now it's just a chance to wake up. Boss Luolei is getting stronger again. Not far away. Perceiving the majestic chakra fluctuations on Luolei, Hoshigaki Kisame showed a look of amazement, and immediately began to practice hard. Since the boss has become stronger, he can't fall. Samahata. The next moment, Hoshigaki Kisame pulled out the Samahata behind him and placed it in front of him. When his mind moved, a strange breath appeared on Samahata. No doubt, this is armament haki, because Samahata absorbed some of Edward Wabel's armament haki, coupled with Zephyr's teaching. Hoshigaki Kisame mastered armament haki in a very short time. Armed color, entanglement. Soon, with a cold shout, under the control of Hoshigaki Kisame, the wisps of breath began to gradually condense, appearing a pitch black color, and finally wrapped around Samahata. Unfortunately, didn't last for 10 seconds. The armament haki wrapped around Samahata collapsed directly. Sure enough, the training time is still too short, the strength is not enough, and the control is not enough. Hoshigaki Kisame shook his head helplessly, and continued to practice. Has master armament haki already? Not far away. In a good mood, Luolei glanced at Hoshigaki Kisame, revealing a look of amazement. No doubt, Hoshigaki Kisame's talent is very powerful. In just a few days, I have already entered armament haki's practice. As for observation haki, one of Conqueror's hakis, Hoshigaki Kisame took one afternoon to become a master. In his words, as a veteran cage-level powerhouse, his perception is already very strong, and it is almost not difficult to practice observation haki. In that case, let me get used to sage body too. Before long, Luolei withdrew his gaze, and began to practice on his own. Fist is the last word. Only by constantly becoming stronger can we master the right to speak and master the absolute initiative in doing things. The next day, in a conference room of the T3 branch, Luolei and Hoshigaki Kisame both sat there. Actually, say conference room. Rather, it is Luolei's office. There are only 2 of them in the entire T3 branch. As for recruiting, then there is no need. In fact, after being transferred to the West Blue T3 branch, Luolei has already made up his mind to take the elite route, just like the Shao organization in the Hokage world. Ha ha ha, Marine seems to have erased our information. Looking at the latest newspaper in his hand, Hoshigaki Kisame grinned and said coldly, if I'm not mistaken, Marine wants us to West Blue continues to keep a low profile. When it comes to this, Hoshigaki Kisame also added regretfully, it's really a pity. Originally, Hoshigaki Kisame was still looking forward to the response of Marine's executives. Now, it seems that Marine's executives chose to wait and see what happened, and acted like a shrewd turtle. Ha ha. After hearing this, Luolei looked disdainful, relieved the newspaper in his hand, and said meaningfully, how could the top management of Marine admit that he did something wrong? After all, it was Celestial Dragons who I offended at the beginning. In fact, for the cold treatment method of Marine high-rise, Luolei had expected it. After all, it was almost impossible for the famous Marshal Sengoku to admit that he had done something wrong. Maybe if he and Hoshigaki Kisame were not too strong. Bad face. Marine executives have long since issued orders with a strong attitude. Now Marine is a fool and wants to set up a torii, wants to boil a frog in warm water, and deliberately left him and Hoshigaki Kisame in West Blue. Yes, Hoshigaki Kisame showed his sharp teeth, and an undisguised coldness flashed through his golden pupils. Boss Luolei, it seems that the Marine executives haven't realized their mistakes. If we don't do it again and again, it's enough to be a pirate. With our strength, it's only a matter of time before you become the 5th emperor. Do not. Luolei chuckled and waved his hand. It's boring to be a pirate, it's still fun to be a Marine. The top Marines erased our information and wanted us to keep a low profile in West Blue, so we would do the opposite and just do it again. Be a little more high profile. Just in time, 3 years have passed, and I also want to have a good time. Boss Luolei, I will listen to you. I will do what you say. Hoshigaki Kisame seemed to be interested and said enthusiastically, as long as the top Marines don't speak, then we can do whatever we want as Marines. Can. Luolei nodded and said coldly, I'll see how long Marines executives can endure. But, who should we attack? West Blue's fish pond. Even if some pirates are killed, it won't cause too much movement. The next moment, Hoshigaki Kisame spoke in a deep voice. A terrifying killing intent. Obviously some can't wait. Get your hands on the 5 Mafia families in West Blue. The corners of Luolei's mouth twitched slightly, and he said in a low voice, if you want to do something, then play a big one. Next week, the 5 major Mafia groups in West Blue will hold a Mafia conference. Evil. A Mafia family. Hoshigaki Kisame did not speak, and the information about the West Blue Mafia family that he had seen flashed in his mind. At West Blue, the 5 Mafia families are the emperors. The forces in the underground dark world of West Blue are even more intertwined, and their strength is very powerful. Even the Marine and the country of West Blue are helpless. If they sweep the 5 major Mafia in one fell swoop, it will definitely make the entire West Blue, and even the entire the sea trembled. Boss Luolei, you're done. After a few seconds, Hoshigaki Kisame revealed murderous intent and said in a firm tone, in order to maintain justice, the 5 major Mafia families in West Blue should all die. As for whether it can destroy the 5 major Mafia families in West Blue, Hoshigaki Kisame is not worried at all. After all, he is not an ordinary cage-level ninja, but eats the devil fruit in the form of fish and fish without side effects, ancient species, and megalodon, and learned armament hockey, observation hockey, the ninja of Marine 6 styles. Super Shadow's strength is already adequate. Row. Luolei took a deep breath, raised his head suddenly, a smile flashed in his eyes. 3 years of dormancy. Now it's finally time to make an official move. This time, if he can sweep West Blue's 5 major Mafia families in one fell swoop, the wealth accumulated over hundreds of years of West Blue's 5 major Mafia families will become his possessions, and at the same time he will also play West Blue's T3 branch. Prestige. What Marine doesn't want to do, he will do. The attack on Zephyr in West Blue only caused a little bit of waves in West Blue. Soon, was replaced by something else. That's when West Blue's famous Mafia convention is about to be held. As the annual Mafia feast, all the forces in West Blue are paying attention. At that time, almost all the giants of the major underground dark forces in West Blue will be present to participate in this feast. As for the reason, of course because of the Mafia convention. Will redistrict the cake of the West Blue underground dark forces. A week later, West Blue, Winston Island. As a neutral business island, Winston Island has always been incredibly prosperous. However, bright on the surface, can't hide the ugly and dirty in the dark. The 5 Mafia families of West Blue have already secretly controlled this commercial island, secretly carrying out various illegal activities. This time, the location of the Mafia Congress was also set here. So, on the day when the Mafia Congress was held, Winston Island became more prosperous and lively. Not only many Mafia members dressed in black or dark gray suits, ties, high hats and sunglasses landed on the island, but also some giants of the West Blue underground dark forces landed on the island with their hands. The Mafia Congress is about to be held again. This time, the 5 major Mafia families are afraid that they will have to target maiming again. It's so lively, it's worthy of being the 5 major Mafia factions, but they are not afraid of Marine and openly hold a Mafia conference. First wonder if Marine from West Blue is shivering. Quote. Accompanied by a series of uproars. Many giants of the dark underground world of West Blue are crowding together and walking towards a hotel in the central area. For these giants, they actually want to participate in the division of the cake, but the 5 Mafia families are too powerful, and they simply do not allow one more person to share the cake. Therefore, they can only wait for the 5 Mafia families to divide the cake, and then cooperate with the 5 Mafia families. As for West Blue's Marine, they won't be afraid. Because, on this day of the Mafia conference, almost all the underground dark forces in West Blue will gather here, unless Naval Headquarters takes action. Otherwise, Marine of West Blue, even if it is put on eye drops, can only shrink. Tails, dare not speak out. Before long, when these giants of the West Blue underground dark world arrive at the hotel, he was brought into a huge conference room by a cadre of the Capone family, one of the 5 major Mafia families, and sat down one by one. And in the central area of the conference room, there was a huge round table with 5 chairs around it. That's right, this is the position of the head of the 5 Mafia families. No one speaks. The meeting room was kept in absolute silence. Invisibly, the atmosphere has become a little dignified. Under such circumstances, the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces did not feel any discomfort, and just waited silently. I do not know how long it has been. Click. A door directly in front of the conference room suddenly opened, and 5 figures of varying sizes entered in turn. Here comes the leader of the 5 Mafia families. All the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces at the scene turned their eyes and looked up. I saw the head of the Capone family, Capone Beige, the head of the Clara family Clara Bluno, the head of the Francis family Francis Arnold, the head of the Bernal family Bernal Parker, the head of the Milton family Milton Newman. They all walked in with cigars in their mouths. Okay, are everyone here? Soon, after the leaders of the 5 major Mafia families took their seats. The leader of the Capone family, Capone Beige, took a cigar and exhaled a puff of white smoke, and said calmly, "I'm not talking nonsense, the round table meeting of the 5 major Mafia families officially begins." Boom. The voice did not fall. A knock on the table rang out. I saw Francis Arnold, the leader of the Francis family, patted the table indifferently, and said, "Capone Beige, are you too embarrassed to speak? How many times did your people smash our Francis family? HMPH, our Bernal family's shipping routes were also cut off by your Capone family. In the arms business, your Capone family also got involved. Several large commercial islands of our family have been looted by your Capone family members, which is really deceiving." Quote. With the beginning of Francis Arnold, Clara Bluno, the leader of the Clara family, Bernal Parker, the leader of the Bernal family, and Milton Newman, the leader of the Milton family, also started to get angry and looked at him angrily. Capone Beige. It's really that the Capone family has been deceiving too much during this time. The 5 Mafia families, through the annual Mafia conference, have already divided the cake in advance. The results of it, the Capone family, not abide by the agreement, began to be restless, secretly snatch other people's bowls of cake, is tolerable and unbearable. Ha ha. Facing the attack of the other 4 Mafia families, Capone Beige disapproved and let out a sneer. Disdain, your appetite is too small and there are too many cakes, I'm afraid of choking you to death. What did you say? Capone Beige, you didn't come to the meeting on purpose. It has long been known that the Capone family is ambitious, and now you are finally showing a fox's tail. Presumptuous, I think your Capone family's appetite has grown, right? Bang, bang. In an instant, Clara Bluno, Francis Arnold, Bernal Parker, and Milton Newman were all furious. They slapped the table and glared at Capone Beige. Smell this. And looking at the gunpowder-smelling dialogue of the 5 chiefs. The giants of the West Blue underground dark world at the scene were a little confused, and they didn't expect this scene to happen at all. What's the matter? The meeting has just started, is there going to be infighting? Too much nonsense, right? But, think of the means of Capone Beige. The giants of these West Blue dark worlds are relieved. It seems that Capone Beige felt that the Capone family was strong enough, so he made no secret of his ambitions, taking advantage of the Mafia conference, and wanted to annex the other 4 major Mafia families. That's why there is this scene. The meeting has just started, and I plan to turn my face. So, in this situation, although very surprised and inconceivable, but, the giants of the dark world of West Blue in the conference room made no sound. They all looked like they were watching a play. To put it in a bad way, they still want the 5 major Mafia families to have civil strife. Moreover, Capone Beige is not a fuel-efficient lamp, since it dares to turn its face, it must be fully prepared. All in all, a good show to watch. In the field, looking at the angry leaders of the 4 great families, Capone Beige was unmoved, still confident, with his legs crossed, smoking a cigar, and said, the theme of this meeting today is the merger of the 5 Mafia families, and under the leadership of the Capone family, work together to become bigger and bigger. Strong, create greater glories. Be bigger and stronger, and create greater glories. Are you afraid of dreaming again? Upon hearing this, Clara Bluno, the leader of the Clara family, uttered a foul language. Capone Beige are the 5 major Mafia families. It may be merged, so don't be delusional. Just say it if you want to annex us, there's no need to pretend to be a merger. Francis Arnold, the leader of the Francis family, sneered again and again. Capone Beige, you're going to die. Bernal Parker, the leader of the Bernal family, scolded with a gloomy face, over the years, your Capone family has become more and more arrogant in West Blue, and now you are even more arrogant. Is it an inch that wants to unify the Mafia family in West Blue? Could it be that we are really easy to bully? Our 4 major Mafia families are not weak. Milton Newman, the leader of the Milton family, increased his tone. Don't force us to join forces and fight the Capone family together. After saying this, Milton Newman also took a look at Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker, and Francis Arnold. The expression was very simple, and if it couldn't be done, he joined forces to resist Capone Beige. To this, Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker and Francis Arnold also nodded silently. They are not fools. Since Capone Beige has torn his face, then their 4 major Mafia families don't have any face. If it's a big deal, they will unite and fight against Capone Beige's Capone family. Oh, why? Seeing this, Capone Beige sighed and threatened, if you merge, it will be good for everyone, and I will treat you well. If you don't merge, you will be at your own risk. Are you threatening us? Capone Beige, the Capone family is indeed strong, but, our 4 major Mafia families are not vegetarian. The big deal is that the fish will die and the net will be broken. Who is afraid of whom? Quote. Quote. Looking at Capone Beige's light cloud and wind, he still looks like he's ready for them. Milton Newman, Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker and Francis Arnold are also violent, and they simply don't want to bear it. Nemas, as the heads of the 5 Mafia families, I haven't seen any scenes before. This Capone Beige has an expression of convincing everyone, and it looks a little disgusting. It's a big deal. Who's afraid of whom? Ha ha. In the face of the unanimous opposition from the leaders of the 4 major Mafia families, Capone Beige seemed to have anticipated it long ago and did not panic. Instead, He took a sip of his cigar and said surprisingly, "The Don Quixote family supports me. The Mafia family that dominates West Blue. Did you say so, Diamante?" After saying this, Capone Beige also yelled at the door of the conference room. "That's right." Next moment, accompanied by an extremely cold voice, I saw a man wearing a raw-brimmed hat, two face tattoos on his face, wearing a red cloak, and a person dressed as an indigenous person came in from the door of the conference room. Quiet. A dead silence. Looking at Diamante, who suddenly appeared, the entire conference room fell into a dead silence for a while. No way. No one thought. Capone Beige's trump card is actually supported by the Don Quixote family. Well now, Diamante, one of the senior cadres of the Don Quixote family, actually appeared at the scene. Is this Nima going to turn the rhythm up? You must know that the Don Quixote family is now a well-known existence in the entire sea. Except for the 4 emperors of the New World, the biggest pirate force is almost the Don Quixote family. More importantly, the underground business of the Don Quixote family is spread all over the sea. It stands to reason that a small West Blue is not worth sending a senior cadre from the Don Quixote family. The results of it. Now Diamante is not only here. It's unbelievable to support Capone Beige to dominate the West Blue Mafia family. Hell, things got bigger. Even the giants in the underground dark world of the New World, the Don Quixote family, have to intervene in this mafia meeting. No wonder Capone Beige is so confident. It turns out that he has the support of the Don Quixote family. Quote. After a few seconds, there were exclamations in the originally quiet conference room. Many giants of West Blue's underground dark forces stood up from their chairs in horror, and looked at Diamante, who entered the conference room with an unbelievable expression, not even breathing. Many giants of West Blue's underground dark forces stood up from their chairs in horror, and looked at Diamante, who entered the conference room with an unbelievable expression, not even breathing. No way. They're just the dark world titans of West Blue. Compared with the Don Quixote family, it is like the light of a firefly can compete with Hao. The gap is really too big. Now that the senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, Diamante, has appeared, it is undoubtedly like a dimensionality reduction attack. These West Blue dark world giants, in addition to not speaking, are trembling, fearing that the city gate will catch fire and bring disaster to Chiu. How is this possible? Isn't the Don Quixote family not involved in West Blue's internal affairs? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Impossible. The Don Quixote family actually supports the Capone family, doesn't that mean? Quote. Certainly, compared with these giants of the West Blue underground dark world, the leaders of the 4 major families, namely Milton Newman, Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker and Francis Arnold, lost their eyes and looked at Diamante as if they had seen a ghost. Full of incredible to know, all along, the Don Quixote family does business in West Blue. They don't get involved in West Blue's infighting. Anyway, with the golden name of the Don Quixote family, no one dares to grab business. Well now, the Don Quixote family not only intervened, but also sent a senior cadre, Diamante, to support Capone Beige, the mafia that dominates West Blue. This is completely unplayable. The opponent hit a king bomb. Their 4 major mafia families simply can't afford it. In the face of the Don Quixote family, who are considered behemoths in the Grand Line, they can only kneel and sing conquest in addition to being captured by their hands. The gap in strength is too great. How do you still want to resist? At this time, Capone Beige, who had been winning all the time, held a cigar in his mouth, got up slowly, and said in a cold voice, "After today, the 5 major mafia families in West Blue merge, and I, Capone Beige, will be the only godfather in the underground dark world of West Blue." Quote. After hearing this, Milton Newman pointed at Capone Beige, opened his mouth, wanted to say something cruel, but in the end, he didn't say anything, and he could only sit on the chair with a sullen face. Played. It's all over. Ah. Clara Bluno sighed, clenched her fists, her eyes were full of unwillingness. Lord Diamante, what Capone Beige can give to the Don Quixote family, we can give it. The next moment, Bernal Parker's eyes flashed with a frenzy. No, we give double. That's right. When Francis Arnold heard the words, she responded with anticipation, Lord Diamante, we will double it. We. At this time, Diamante seemed to be deaf to these words, walked slowly to the center of the conference room, sneered, and said, "You said you can double it for me." "That's right. Our 4 major mafia families can definitely afford it. As long as the Don Quixote family doesn't get involved in West Blue's infighting, any price we pay will be worth it." Quote. Seeing that Diamante was moved, Milton Newman, Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker and Francis Arnold nodded hurriedly, as if the drowning person had grabbed the last straw. "Sorry, what Capone Beige can give, you can't give. Pity. As much hope as there is despair." Diamante's expression turned cold, and he fell into the trap in a rather wicked way. As one of the senior cadres of the Don Quixote family, what he likes most is the despair and helplessness after seeing others have hope. Originally, he just came to West Blue to inspect, but he didn't expect that Capone Beige had found him secretly and wanted the Don Quixote family to support his mafia that ruled West Blue. Diamante refused without thinking about it. The Don Quixote family generally does not intervene in infighting in various places. As long as there is money to be made, anyone can be the boss. As long as it doesn't affect the Don Quixote family. But he didn't expect that Capone Beige gave so much that he couldn't refuse. So, he showed up at a mafia convention. PFF'd. As predicted, Milton Newman, Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker and Francis Arnold, who had some hope, were like being struck by lightning. Their eyes froze, and Francis Arnold was even more shocked. He spit out a mouthful of blood. Such a big man, actually deceived them. Really trash. Seeing this scene, Diamante showed a dull look, glanced at Capone Beige, and said, "It's only a matter of time before you dominate the 5 mafia in West Blue, can you give me something?" "It is good." Capone Beige didn't hesitate, and gestured to a Capone family cadre in the corner of the conference room. "Sir Beige." After a few seconds, the cadre of the Capone family came over with a large plate covered with black cloth. "Sir Diamante, this is the devil fruit from the ancient zone species, and there are 2 devil fruits with normal attributes." The next moment, Capone Beige dropped the cigar and took the plate, feeling a little bit of pain, opened the black cloth. These 3 devil fruits, but he finally collected it. Among them, the devil fruit of the zone ancient species cost a lot of money. In fact, if he hadn't eaten Paramesha, fortress fruit, he would have eaten the devil fruit of zone's ancient species. Now it can only be given to the Don Quixote family in exchange for Diamante's support to unify the West Blue Mafia. Diamante showed a ray of excitement. He doesn't care about the 2 ordinary devil fruits. There are a lot of Don Quixote families, but that zone ancient species devil fruit is exactly what the Don Quixote family needs, no, more precisely, what the beast's pirates need. 3 devil fruits are a surprise. Sudden, just when Diamante wanted to catch the big plate. Puff, with a cloud of smoke. A giant in the underground dark world of West Blue suddenly changed into an unfamiliar face. Swish, a cracking sound rang out. Under the astonished gazes of countless people, Luo Lei's body flickered, as if moving in an instant. He took the big plate in his hand. Swish, a cracking sound rang out. Under the astonished gazes of countless people, Luo Lei's body flickered, as if moving in an instant. He took the big plate in his hand. What do you want to do?" Seeing Luo Lei who suddenly appeared, everyone in the conference room was shocked. Among them, Capone Beige and Diamante watched Luo Lei hold the big plate with devil fruit in their hands, and after a moment of stunned, a murderous look appeared on their faces instantly. Without any hesitation, Capone Beige took out a musket and aimed at Luo Lei, while Diamante drew a cloth made of steel. The ability to fly the fruit was activated instantly, and the cloth turned into a western sword, flashing a cold light. Anger. Extreme anger. Although I don't know who Luo Lei is and why he is here. But, to dare to snatch the Don Quixote family's things, no matter how you look at it, it's all looking for trouble, which Diamante can't tolerate. So, in this situation, Diamante's mind moved, strands of armament hockey wrapped around the western sword, and said with a gloomy expression, "Little devil, who are you, who dare to touch the things of our Don Quixote family? Do you want to die? Is this something of the Don Quixote family?" Luo Lei happily glanced at the 3 devil fruits on the big plate, glanced at Diamante with a sword and Capone Beige with a gun in disdain, grinned, and said, "From now on, this is not the belongings of the Don Quixote family were confiscated by the West Blue Marine T3 branch." While talking, Luo took out a black hat and put it lightly on his head. It's a black marine cap. Silently, looking at the marine's cap, looking at the black trench coat embroidered with red clouds that Luo is wearing, vaguely, in the middle of the black trench coat, the word justice seems to be embroidered. In an instant, the entire conference room was like a drop of water fell into the hot oil pan, and there was a burst of uproar. Marine. The kid in front of me is actually a Marine. Although I don't know why his uniform is black and his military cap is also black, everyone can still recognize the word justice. You're Marine. Marine dares to sneak in. This Marine's eyes seem to be white, which is really strange. No, he just seems to have disguised as a giant in the underground dark world of West Blue and sneaked in. Quote. Soon, after the initial astonishment, the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces in the conference room almost rolled their eyes, then all stood up and stared at the people around them with alert eyes, fearing that the people next to them were disguised by Marine. Besides, the cadres of the 5 Mafia families who were on alert around the conference room. He pulled out his weapon and quickly entered a state of battle. Joke. Marine actually got in, and things got a little bigger. What? Marine got in. What should I do now? Isn't this Marine dead for stealing the Don Quixote family? The West Blue T3 branch has been abandoned for 3 years. Isn't this guy Luo, the branch chief of the T3 branch that was frozen in the West Blue by Naval headquarters? Quote. At this time, the leaders of the 4 major Mafia families, Milton Newman, Clara Bluno, Bernal Parker and Francis Arnold, also came back to their senses, but thinking of the power of the Don Quixote family, and shook his head sadly. What's up with Marine? Did you sneak in to find death? From the moment Diamante appeared, the situation for West Blue was set. Even if Marine intervenes, even if the island is surrounded by Marine, there is no use for eggs. After all, the Don Quixote family is not vegetarian. Besides, it's not like Marine intervening. Just a 3-year-old West Blue T3 branch. At the beginning, when Luo was transferred to West Blue T3 branch, the 5 Mafia families received the news immediately, but after learning that Luo was hidden by Naval headquarters, it didn't take it to heart. But I didn't expect that, 3 years later, Luo of the West Blue T3 branch would dare to attack the Mafia Congress, which is simply ignorant. Ha ha ha, interesting, really interesting. Sudden. Just at this time, Diamante seemed to have thought of something, and laughed horribly. Very good, really good. A small Marine, who dares to single-handedly go wild here and make nonsense, is really laughing to death. Quote. West Blue Marine T3 branch. Could it be that you are the Naval headquarters supernova, Luo, who was frozen 3 years ago? A smile appeared in Capone Bedge's eyes, and he said coldly, let me put things down. How can a Mafia conference be presumptuous by a small T3 branch of yours? Today you are dead. No. The whole Marine at West Blue will pay in blood for your recklessness. Oh, Luo shrugged indifferently, a smile flashed in his white eyes, and said in a shocking voice, you are all arrested, you are either captured or killed. What nonsense are you talking about? Facing Luo who was full of confidence from beginning to end. Capone Bedge smiled wickedly and pulled the trigger at Luo without hesitation. In his opinion, this Luo just wanted to find a sense of presence at the Mafia conference, and only by killing him was 100. Bang, bang, bang. Accompanied by a sound of breaking through the air. A few bullets were shot towards Luo at a speed that ordinary people could not see. Too slow. Luo's white eyes moved slightly, he waved his left hand very casually, and then held several bullets in his hand. Clang, clang. This is the sound of several bullets being thrown to the ground one by Luo. How is this possible? Capone Bedge showed an unbelievable look. The bullet was caught casually. All shot at me. The next moment, Capone Bedge was unmoved after seeing a certain world, and ordered coldly, I still don't believe it, he can catch all the bullets. Bang, bang, bang. After this sentence, the cadres of the 5 major Mafia families who had already entered the fighting state did not hesitate, pulled the trigger frantically, and fired hundreds of bullets. It's still too slow. A faint taunt appeared at the corner of Luo's mouth. He didn't even use observation hockey. He had already captured the trajectory of every bullet with his white eyes, and he was too lazy to pick it up. Wave a few times. Clang, clang. One after another, the sound of breaking the air sounded. The bullets were shot back by Luolei, who returned the same way. Not good. At the moment Luolei threw his fist. Capone Beige vaguely had an ominous premonition, and when he moved his mind, he activated Paramesha, the ability of the Fruit of the Hard City, and took out an iron shield from his body and blocked it in front of him. Clang, clang. Next moment, the sound of metal collisions rang out. Under the watchful eyes of Capone Beige, several dents from bullets appeared on the shield. Ah, not good, ah. It was at this time that screams rang out in the conference room. The Mafia cadres who shot just now were killed by their own bullets because they had no time to defend and escape, and they had not reacted. Maybe they didn't think that the bullet could be shot back by someone's fist. Bang, bang, with the sound of the Mafia cadres falling to the ground. In the conference room, the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark Forces who were standing smelled the wisps of blood in the air. While their expressions were horrified, they could not help but feel chills down their spines. Even the leaders of the four major families in the center, and even in Diamante, his expression became solemn. Maybe it's nothing to grab a bullet with your bare hands. But, use the fist to hit the bullets one by one accurately according to the original way, this is definitely not something ordinary people can do. In short, this Luolei from the West Bluet 3 branch is definitely not an ordinary character, and he still has a few brushes. Capone Beige, do you know his intelligence? A few seconds later, Diamante took a deep breath, a ray of light flashed in his eyes, and said solemnly, West Blue T3 branch, what's going on? No, the voice did not fall. Capone Beige has not spoken yet. Clara Bluno, the head of the Clara family, said in a pleasing tone, Lord Diamante, West Blue T3 branch is just a small branch of West Blue. This Luolei is said to be a genius of naval headquarters, but, was buried in West Blue by the naval headquarters 3 years ago. Genius. Relegated to West Blue. Diamante showed a look of doubt. It stands to reason that the existences that can be called geniuses in naval headquarters are all cultivated. That's right. Clara Bluno, the head of the Clara family, hurriedly added, at the beginning, after he was demoted to West Blue, our 5 Mafia families were afraid of some conspiracy in naval headquarters, and they made a special investigation, and finally determined that he was offended celestial dragons, abandoned by naval headquarters. I see. Diamante nodded suddenly. It turned out to be the offending of Marine's high-level father, celestial dragons. No wonder naval headquarters will hide a genius, which can also explain why Luolei is a bit powerful. It looks like he wants to return to naval headquarters by destroying the West Blue Mafia convention. Pity. Diamante shook his head expressionlessly, and didn't mean to do anything. Instead he ordered coldly, you all take action and deal with him, otherwise, the West Blue Mafia conference will become a big joke, already. Okay. Upon hearing this, in the conference room, both the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World and the leaders of the 5 major families took a deep breath and gradually calmed down. They're both West Blue's well-known figures. It has been seen in the world. So, after being horrified, everyone in the conference room looked at Luolei with murderous aura. As Diamante said, the Mafia conference is a feast for the underground dark world of West Blue. Even if it is infighting, it is also an internal event, and there is no room for a Marine to come out to disrupt the situation. Now that Luolei appears, that is to slap the whole West Blue dark world in the face, it would be shameful to say it out. In a word, Luolei must die. Capone Beige dropped his shield with a gloomy expression and looked at Luolei with undisguised killing intent. The original plan was infinitely close to success, but a Marine was killed, breaking his deployment, and invisibly uniting the forces of the West Blue Underground Dark World. He didn't know whether to cry or laugh. A group of garbage. Luolei never looked directly at Capone Beige and others. This time, the Mafia conference has been planned for a long time, but I didn't expect that the Don Quixote family would actually participate in it. In this case, even Diamante will clean it up. But, how could Hoshigaki Kisame be so slow? Quote, with the strength of Hoshigaki Kisame, it should be a simple matter to clean up those Mafia members, pirates, and people from the West Blue Underground Dark World on the island, right? Why is there still no movement? If it doesn't come, I'll do it. Wait a minute, here it comes. The next moment, Luolei's observation haki seemed to sense something, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Laugh. In the next instant, very abruptly, the wall in front of the conference room suddenly burst open, and a dozen figures mixed with stones heavily bombarded the floor of the conference room. PFFT. One of the pirates dressed in the Don Quixote family's costume was not dead after hitting the ground. It was like a flashback, and he spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. When he saw Diamante in the conference room, he was very sad, shouted, "Lord Diamante, dead, all dead." Boom. Unfortunately, no words have spoken yet. A large knife full of barbs broke through the wall and directly smashed it into meat sauce. The sudden change shocked everyone in the conference room. They only saw that the wall was blown up, and more than a dozen figures were sent flying in. Then, the pirate of the Don Quixote family, before he could finish speaking, was smashed into flesh and blood by a large knife full of barbs, soaring. What happened? What exactly happened? The giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World in the conference room, the leaders of the 5 major Mafia, even Diamante, were stunned, their eyes were a little dull, and their hearts were inexplicably panicked. "Boss Luole, here I come." Did not keep them waiting. A very cold voice sounded. I saw a man with a face that looked like a shark came in step by step from outside the wall. No one has entered yet. An extremely strong bloody smell was oppressed. It made many giants in the underground dark world suddenly pale. Among them, Diamante seemed to see something, his body trembled, and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Because, through broken walls, he saw blood and corpses outside the hotel. Thinking of the cry of the pirate from the Don Quixote family before he died, he knew at once that the pirates of the Don Quixote family who he brought to Winston Island to attend the Mafia meeting might have all been killed. As for the murderer, it was the man with the shark face. Who is this? Could it be that he killed all the members of the Mafia on the island, the pirates, and the people from the underground dark world? Quote. As Hoshigaki Kisame walked into the conference room, many people in the conference room also saw the blood and corpse behind him, and their bodies suddenly froze, all showing unbelievable expressions, and there was a bit of horror and fear in their eyes. How is this possible? Died? Are they all dead? Could it be that so many people on the island were killed by this shark-faced person? Gollum. A sound of swallowing saliva sounded. The giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World in the conference room began to tremble in their hearts. They swallowed cautiously and looked at Hoshigaki Kisame as if they were looking at some monster. Say something bad. Mixed society. They are all characters who lick blood. But, no matter how special the knife tip is to lick blood, I have never encountered such a violent, bloody and powerful character like Hoshigaki Kisame. After all, this time the West Blue Mafia Congress was held. Whether it is the 5 major Mafia families or the giants of the underground dark world, they all brought their elite subordinates. Don't dare to act rashly. It's good now. Deterrence didn't work. Instead, they were all overwhelmed by a marine. This undoubtedly made some people in the conference room unacceptable. One person killed so many of their subordinates. Is this the end of the CAF? The elite power is gone, and they have become bare commanders. It's really meaningless. At this time, Hoshigaki Kisame lifted Samahata from the ground on his own, and grinned. Boss Luole, those guys outside are really too weak, they're not even as good as trash. Yes, Luole shrugged expressionlessly, and said curiously, are you finished? No, those who resisted were killed, and those who surrendered were not killed. Hoshigaki Kisame shook his head regretfully, and said, probably only 80% of them were killed. There was also a group of pirates who claimed to be the Don Quixote family. They were so arrogant that they were brutally killed by me one by one. When it's over here, Hoshigaki Kisame raised his brows and glanced at Diamante provocatively. Luole nodded. This time, none of the people who came to participate in the Mafia Sea were good people, they were all vicious people. If you kill them, you will kill them. It's no big deal. After all, not every pirate is a traveler like King Luffy. Most of them are burning, killing, looting and looting all grandmasters, especially those big pirates in the New World, killing civilians like killing dogs, destroying islands without a word. Among them, disputes between the 4 emperors can even destroy a country, which can be described as a crime. Tired. You. At this time, facing the provocation of Hoshigaki Kisame, Diamante seemed to have reacted. his body trembled a little, and roared in a stern voice, "No one has ever dared to kill the pirates of our Don Quixote family so blatantly. You are all dead, no one can save you. When the Don Quixote family gets angry, West Blue will shake. Ha ha ha, you are all dead, what are you still alive for? Maybe too angry." Capone Bedge's body trembled faintly, and he lost his mind madly. This time, in order to unify the Mafia family in West Blue, he brought almost all the elites of the Capone family, so when he thought that the elites of the Capone family that he brought to the island had been killed, he had a kind of vomiting blood. It feels like it's over, it's all over. Castle Tank. The next moment, Capone Bedge, who was dazzled by anger, directly motivated Paramesha, the energy of the hard city fruit, turned his legs into crawlers, moved at high speed like a tank, and attacked Hoshigaki Kisame without flinching. He wants revenge. Court death. Hoshigaki Kisame snorted lightly, and strands of armament haki and chakra wrapped around Samahata, and slashed out without leaving a hand. Boom. A crisp sound sounded. Samahata and the castle tank had a head-on collision. Immediately afterwards, under the incredible look of Capone Bedge, a terrifying power to ultimate roared out, and then his tank track was forcibly smashed by Samahata, blood and broken bones splashed everywhere. What? A scream rang out. Capone Bedge, who had regained his human form, looked at his bloody legs, and the whole person suddenly became stupid. Just one blow. The castle tank he incarnated was blown up abruptly. The man with the shark face. How strong is it? No, no. You are definitely not marine, you are demons, demons from hell. Quote. Looking at his abolished legs, after Capone Bedge lost his mind for a moment, his inner fear began to spread. As the leader of the Capone family, one of the 5 major mafia factions, he can be regarded as a battle-hardened and ruthless master, but in the face of people like Hoshigaki Kisame, he is absolutely indifferent to life, completely ignores death, and is indifferent to enemies. Relentless Lord, he is completely broken. Marine is not scary. I'm so afraid that Marine's attack is more ruthless than the Mafia. Violence with violence. Demon. Hearing this sentence, Hoshigaki Kisame grinned, showing sharp fangs, stepping on the rubble and rotten flesh, strode in front of Capone Bedge, and said, "How do you want to die?" Capone Bedge was about to say something when the voice stopped abruptly. Because Hoshigaki Kisame kicked out and directly stepped on Capone Bedge's head and kept rubbing it. Although everyone at the scene couldn't see Capone Bedge's expression, but don't think about it. Knowing is a panic. Hey, I don't actually like killing people, but I have to. Watching the struggling Capone Bedge, Hoshigaki Kisame suddenly smiled, a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes, and his feet instantly gained strength. Show mercy. Non-existent. Puff. A crisp crack sounded. Capone Bedge's head was like an overripe watermelon. It was stomped on by Hoshigaki Kisame, and the red and white things exploded in all directions. As this killed. Looking at the killed Capone Bedge, Luole shook his head helplessly. The captain of the Flame Tank Pirates, one of the 11 supernovas in the future, was shot in the head by Hoshigaki Kisame, which is a pity to think about. At the same time, what? Capone Bedge dead. What should I do? What should I do now? Quote. Watching that Capone Bedge was destroyed by one move, and then his head was stomped on with one foot. The giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World in the conference room were completely crazy, their cheeks flashed with disbelief, especially when they saw the red and white things scattered all over the place, their hearts seemed to stop beating, breathing stopped for a moment. Died. The famous Capone Bedge in West Blue was tortured to death. A few minutes ago, Capone Bedge is about to unify West Blue's Mafia to the pinnacle of life. But now, Capone Bedge is dead, and the body is in front of him. For a while, these giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World, somehow, have a feeling of sadness. What about you? After Hoshigaki Kisame stepped on Capone Bedge's head, he turned his eyes and looked at the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World in the conference room with a smile on his face. I surrender. Clang. Facing Hoshigaki Kisame's devilish smile. A giant in the underground dark world of West Blue seemed to be frightened. He threw the musket in his hand on the ground in a trembling manner, and squatted on the ground directly, holding his head in his hands, as if he was not resisting. And this is like a fuse. I surrender too. I surrender myself. I surrender myself too. Quote. Quote. I saw all the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces, but they were also full of despair, and they had no desire to resist, and they all squatted on the ground. As for resistance, stop kidding, right? Didn't you see Capone Beige being stomped on his head? It is better to die than to live, surrender and admit defeat. Okay, it's your turn. After seeing the giants of West Blue's underground dark world holding their heads and squatting, Luo stretched and looked at the leaders of the remaining 4 Mafia families. The voice did not fall. Clara Bluno, the head of the Clara family, wiped the cold sweat from her forehead and hurriedly said, I surrendered. Don't kill us. We also surrendered ourselves and hope to be given a light sentence. Our Mafia family also has a bright heart. Quote. Quote. The next moment, the leader of the Francis family, Francis Arnold, the leader of the Bernal family, Bernal Parker, and the leader of the Milton family, Milton Newman, all squatted on the ground in panic. Too difficult. This Mafia Congress, abruptly destroyed by 2 Marines. Thinking about it makes me feel a little uncomfortable and want to cry, but there is nothing I can do. Now I can only surrender and save my life first. Why is this? A genius hidden by Marine, how strong is his strength? Could this be Marine's conspiracy to hide such terrifying combat power in West Blue? Diamandi looked at the one-sided situation, his heart gradually sank, and looked at Luo and Hoshigaki Kisame, just like looking at some monster. Just started, he saw Luo and Hoshigaki Kisame. He didn't care at all, but after Hoshigaki Kisame smashed Capone Beige's legs with one move, he knew that he underestimated the strength of Luo and Hoshigaki Kisame. Especially in the face of Hoshigaki Kisame. I don't know what happened. He actually had a feeling of facing Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, one of the beasts. Back then, when he and Dover went to Beast's Pirates, he was fortunate enough to meet Kaido, the beast. The terrifying power made him unforgettable to this day. Even if he was stronger than Dover, he was in a cold sweat. It's good now. In a fish pond like West Blue. He felt that way again on a little-known marine. Just hell. It's your turn. Hoshigaki Kisame took a few more steps and stood directly in front of Diamandi. He said in a calm tone, as one of the 4 senior officials of the Don Quixote family, if he died, the shock should not be small, right? What do you want to do? Swish. Maybe too frightened. Diamandi was instantly shocked, and he aimed the western sword in his hand at Hoshigaki Kisame. What do you want to do? Swish. Maybe too frightened. Diamandi was instantly shocked, and he aimed the western sword in his hand at Hoshigaki Kisame. It's now, go die. It seems to have accumulated for a long time. Diamandi's eyes flashed with determination. As the 4 senior officials of the Don Quixote family, although he was afraid, he would not accept the same rubbish in the underground dark world of West Blue. The shot should be shot, even if it is a sneak attack. Half-month funeral. With the stroke of the western sword, a white sword energy suddenly shot out, carrying a fierce meaning, and bombarded Hoshigaki Kisame. Maybe it was too close. Hoshigaki Kisame didn't have time to react and didn't have any defense, so he just watched the sword chi bombard him. Success, or one-shot kill. See this scene. Diamandi's eyes flashed with excitement. The opponent is still too young, so close to him, isn't he courting death? After all, he is not only a demon fruit power, but also a powerful swordsman. However, the ideal is full, reality is very skinny. The excited color in Diamandi's eyes lasted for less than 3 seconds, and then gradually changed to the color of horror. Because, at the moment when the sword energy bombarded Hoshigaki Kisame smiled strangely, a smoke was generated, and his body turned into a pool of water, scattered on the ground. How is this possible? Diamandi's pupils shrank suddenly, revealing a ghostly look. Nothing is impossible. Forgot to tell you, I'm not just a marine, I'm a ninja. You also take me a knife. Samahata a chi slash. Swish. A cracking sound resounded. Hoshigaki Kisame held the samahata wrapped around armament haki and chakra in his hand, and his body appeared in front of Diamandi in a flash, and a samahata waved out directly. Crack, crack. Perhaps the power is too violent. The air was hit with wisps of cracks visible to the naked eye. Not good. Diamandi's pupils shrank, and he unconsciously blocked the western sword in front of him. Boom. The next moment, Samahata collided head-on with the western sword, making a metal collision sound. Swipe. A crisp voice sounded. The western sword shattered in response, turning into countless fragments, and then Samahata bombarded Diamante with unabated power. Do not. Diamante roared frantically, urging the ability of flying fruit with all his strength, and his clothes turned into steel in the fluttering dance, trying to defend against this attack. However, today's Hoshigaki Kisame is quite scary. Especially after learning armament hockey, with the cooperation of chakra, the attack power has risen a notch. Boom. Another explosion sounded. Diamante's steel clothes shattered in response, turned into countless iron filings, and scattered in the air. Laugh. Laugh. Immediately afterwards, the spikes on Samahata's body repeatedly tore on Diamante's body a few times. With the blood spilling from the sky, Diamante's body appeared one after another with visible wounds. Poof. This is the sound of Diamante hitting the ground. Perhaps he was severely injured and collapsed on the ground, spitting out mouthfuls of blood, and looking at Hoshigaki Kisame, there was a faint trace of fear in his eyes. It's not that he is too weak, but his opponent is too strong. How could such a terrifying combat power appear in West Blue? Shouldn't it be on the Grand Line? And ninjas, when did they become so powerful? It's just something incredible. It's done. Looking at Diamante, who was spitting blood with fear on his face, Hoshigaki Kisame laughed mischievously, took out the white gauze, and wrapped Samahata on his own. Gollum. Gollum. As for the giants of the West Blue underground dark world and the leaders of the four major families who were squatting and holding their heads in the conference room, they carefully swallowed their saliva. For a while, they didn't even dare to breathe. Terrible. It's really scary. Senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, Lord Diamante. In one round, he was crushed. Just how powerful is this shark-faced man? And Luo Lei, the branch manager of the West Blue T3 branch who has not done much from the beginning to the end, what is he trying to do? Give him a treat. Luo Lei's tone contained a hint of joking, and he said calmly, this time, West Blue is going to be shaken, right? Okay. Hoshigaki Kisame shrugged indifferently, put the wrapped Samahata on his back, and walked straight towards Diamante, who was lying on the ground. Cough. Cough. After hearing this, Diamante, who was already seriously injured and full of blood, coughed violently and said tremblingly, I am a senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, if you kill me, Dover. Noisy. Hoshigaki Kisame scolded impatiently, and before Diamante could finish speaking, he stepped on it again. Puff. A crack sounded. Diamante's neck shattered into a mess of mud, the dead couldn't die any longer. Maybe he never thought that he would meet such two Marines in West Blue who played their cards out of line. If he wanted to kill him, he would kill him without any hesitation. Even the famous Don Quixote family was not afraid, family in the eyes. After half an hour, on the pier on Winston Island, the giants of West Blue's underground dark world and the heads of the remaining four major families all held their heads in their hands and squatted on the pier in an orderly manner, not even daring to breathe. As for the bodies of Diamante and Capone Beige, they were hung on a pole on the pier. Atmosphere. Very dignified and depressed. Let's go. I looked at the sea. A gleam of light flashed in Luo Lei's white eyes, and he said meaningfully, it's time for us to go to work. All right. Smashed the Mafia convention in one fell swoop. It's just an appetizer. The real big head is the wealth accumulated by the 5 Mafia families for hundreds of years. Now that Capone Beige is dead, and the heads of the other 4 major Mafia families have surrendered, it is better for him to pocket the wealth himself rather than cheap others. Therefore, Luo Lei has already made up his mind. After leaving Winston Island, he and Hoshigaki Kisame will use the shadow clone technique respectively, and at the same time, they will raid the home of the 5 major Mafia families. It is good. Hoshigaki Kisame nodded silently, chakra surging, his hands quickly knotted, water stylia water prison technique. Boom. With a terrifying chakra riot, a spherical cage formed by a giant current appeared on the pier. Imprisoned the giants of the West Blue underground dark world and the leaders of the remaining 4 families. Water style A Megalodon. Next moment, chakra surging. A water megalodon appeared on the sea. Swish. Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame flashed and stood on the water megalodon. Immediately, the giants of the West Blue underground dark world and the leaders of the remaining 4 major families left under the trembling gazes. Call. After a while, looking at the backs of Luole and Hoshigaki Kisame leaving, the giants of the underground dark world of West Blue and the leaders of the remaining 4 major families could not help but let out a sigh of relief, and their expressions were sad for a while. These 2 demons have finally left, and it is unfortunate that they can save their lives. Lucky in. As for escaping, forget it. Didn't you see this giant water dungeon? At the same moment, in the sea not far from Winston Island, several marine warships are parked here. At this time, on the most central warship, a marine's rear admiral was holding his arms across his chest, looking at Winston Island in the distance, his expression changing. This time, when the Mafia Congress was held, he led the team to the waters near Winston Island, just like in previous years, just to monitor the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces and the leaders of the 5 major Mafia families on the island. As for launching an attack, forget it. In the face of the 5 Mafia families and the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces, his marine is really not enough to watch. Ah, I do not know how long it has been. Alfred Rear Admiral let out a heavy sigh. As the largest branch of West Blue, the branch head of the first branch of West Blue, he actually has ambitions and aspirations, but he is suppressed by the 5 major Mafia families of West Blue, and he does not dare to act rashly. Sudden. Just at this time, Alfred Rear Admiral frowned, and there was an inexplicable foreboding in his heart. Because there was a strong smell of blood in the sea breeze. What a strong bloody smell, it seems to have drifted from Winston Island. Next to him, a Marines colonel also seemed to smell something, and said subconsciously, isn't it because the 5 Mafia families are not evenly divided and have internal strife? Most likely. Another Marines colonel nodded solemnly. This time, the Mafia conference seems to be more intense than before, and all the forces have brought their own elites down. Let's get a little closer. Alfred Rear Admiral hesitated a bit. He immediately ordered the warship to move closer to Winston Island. With the movement of several warships, the distance to Winston Island is getting closer and closer, and the scene on Winston Island can already be seen with the telescope. Why is there no movement? Alfred Rear Admiral took a quick glance with the telescope, but found that the whole of Winston Island was dead silent, not even a ghost was seen. Even stranger, Mafia ships patrolling around Winston Island are also gone. Not right. Where does Winston Island have the atmosphere of a Mafia convention? Several Colonel Marine with binoculars also looked at each other with a look of surprise. Keep getting closer. Alfred Rear Admiral waved his hand with a strange expression and gave the order again. Finally, after approaching more than 600 meters. As if I saw something. The expressions of Alfred Rear Admiral and several Marines colonels froze. Because, on Winston Island, the corpses are all corpses, and the blood has stained the ground red. Bang, bang. Perhaps too shocking and unbelievable. Some of the telescopes in Marine's hands were unsteady and fell to the deck. Another part of Marine, his body softened, sat directly on the deck, sweating profusely, and his eyes were full of fear and disbelief. Wait a minute, Alfred Rear Admiral, look at the dock, the dock. But, just at this time, a Marine's colonel made a terrified sound as if he had discovered something. After hearing this, Alfred changed the angle of the telescope and glanced curiously. I don't know if I don't see it, but I was shocked when I saw it. For a split second, Alfred's forehead became constantly dripping with cold sweat, showing a look of extreme horror. I saw 2 dead people hanging in the wind on the pillars of the wharf, one of which was trampled on the neck, and the other was trampled on the head. If I read it correctly, the one whose neck was stomped off seems to be Diamante, one of the senior cadres of the Don Quixote family, and the other whose head was stomped on, it is hard to recognize, but, from the clothing and body shape, seems to be Capone Beige, the leader of the Capone family, one of the 5 Black Hand families. More importantly, on the pier, the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces and the leaders of the other 4 major families were squatting on the ground with their heads in their hands, and were imprisoned by water. More importantly, on the pier, the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces and the leaders of the other 4 major families were squatting on the ground with their heads in their hands, and were imprisoned by water. What? Who is it, who is so powerful that even the senior cadres of the Don Quixote family were killed? Quote. Alfred Rear Admiral was a little messy, and the few Marine colonels next to him also stared blankly. For a time, the Marine soldiers on the 3 Marine warships were all shocked, and their minds were blank. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. After half an hour, Alfred Rear Admiral was the first to come back to his senses, with a resolute look in his eyes. Although he doesn't know what happened, there is no doubt that now is a good opportunity to wipe out the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark Forces and the leaders of the other 4 major families. Go down the order, land on the island. The next moment, Alfred took a deep breath, as if he had made a decision, and said solemnly, "It's time to uphold the justice of West Blue and revive the power of our first branch of West Blue." Yes, Alfred Rear Admiral. Upon hearing this, several Marines colonels also regained their senses, clenched their fists, and looked a little excited. How many years has the first West Blue branch been suppressed by the Mafia? Now is the time to finally find a chance. It's really not easy to get revenge. So, in this situation, several Marines' warships increased their horsepower and rushed towards the Winston Island pier. An hour later, the mess on Winston Island was cleaned up. The whole process, it was unexpectedly successful. Even Alfred has some feeling of dreaming, especially the large water prison. It seems to be summoning. After Marine appeared, it was automatically turned into seawater and scattered into the sea, making it easy for them to wipe out the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark Forces and the leaders of the other 4 families. That's it. Looking at the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark Forces and the leaders of the other 4 families who were arrested. 2 words flashed in Alfred's mind. Good news, great news. In vain, a Colonel Marine ran over in disbelief and said in a slightly flustered voice, "Alfred Rear Admiral, through interrogation, I know what happened." "Say it." Alfred looked overjoyed and hurriedly ordered. "Gollum." The colonel swallowed his saliva, with a look of horror in his eyes, and said in a shocking voice, "It was done by Luolei, Commodore of the West Blue T3 branch. He and a man with a shark face, with absolute strength, swept the Mafia convention." What did you say?" Alfred's head hummed and he blurted out, "How is this possible?" Really? The colonel showed a somewhat sluggish look, suppressed the throbbing in his heart, and said in a trembling voice, "Then, that shark-faced man, who stomped on Capone Bedge's head, and also scolded the senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, Diamante, hit the killer in pain and shot her in the throat." Clang. It seems that some people can't believe it. Alfred, whose mind was blank in shock, tilted his body and sat on the deck. What kind of strength is this? 2 people swept the West Blue Mafia convention. How is this possible? But the fact happened in front of him, and Alfred had to believe that it was really Luolei, the head of the West Blue T3 branch. But is that Luolei Commodore hidden in the snow so powerful? There has been no movement for 3 years. Now there is a sudden movement, which directly swept the West Blue Mafia conference, and killed the senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, Diamante. No, West Blue is going to shake. This shocking news must be reported to Naval headquarters. I do not know how long it has been. Alfred just reacted and hurriedly took out a phone bug from his chest. Naval headquarters, Marineford. In the top office of Marshal Marine, Marshal Sengoku was processing documents, and above his head stood a seagull, closing his eyes there. Soon after processing the file, Sengoku seemed to think of something and couldn't help sighing. Although the incident with West Blue was erased by Marine, Luolei and Hoshigaki Kisame had become a thorn in his heart, which gave Sengoku a kind of thorn in his heart. Marine feels out of control. Baloo, Baloo, with the sound of a phone bug ringing. Sengoku came back to his senses, picked up the phone in surprise, and said, "This is Naval Headquarters, I'm Marshal Sengoku." Marshal Sengoku. I am the branch chief of West Blue's first branch, Alfred Rear Admiral. From the other end of the phone bug, Alfred trembled in fear, the sound of Alfred Rear Admiral. Hearing this, Sengoku frowned and said solemnly, "If you have something to do, you should go to the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral who is in charge of West Blue, instead of calling me a phone bug, understand?" Marshal Sengoku, I know. On the other end of the phone bug, Alfred resisted the shock in his heart and said, "The West Blue Mafia conference was taken over by someone, and there were countless deaths. It was Luolei from the T3 branch who did it. We West Blues know. One branch picked up a bargain, and it has already wiped out the giants of the West Blue Underground Dark Forces and the leaders of the other 4 major families. And Diamante, one of the senior officials of the Don Quixote family, was killed by Luo Commodore's subordinates. What? I heard the voice from the other end of the phone bug. Sengoku was stunned for a moment, obviously did not respond, and then asked in amazement, Alfred Rear Admiral, what did you say? Lay. Yes, on the other end of the phone bug. Alfred said tremblingly, Marshal Sengoku, West Blue is about to shake. You see, when Luo from the T3 branch can be transferred to the first West Blue branch, I am willing to be the deputy. Quote. He is so strong and has such strong subordinates, staying in the T3 branch is really inferior. No. Sengoku's face turned black all of a sudden, and he hung up the phone worm neatly. This, on the other end of the phone bug. Alfred Rear Admiral is a little confused. He doesn't understand why. Luo of the T3 branch is so strong, Marshal Sengoku should be happy, right? How can I hear the sound? It seems very unhappy. It's really weird. Chapter 31. Naval Headquarters. The Marshal's office. After hanging up the phone bug, Sengoku let out a heavy sigh while his expression changed. After all, things were out of his control. This time, what happened to West Blue, even if Marine tried his best to cover it up, couldn't hide it. He could imagine the shocking scene of West Blue. After all, his face, still being beaten. After 3 years of silence, once it broke out, it seemed that some could not be suppressed, even he felt great pressure. Ninja, are they really that powerful? Unconsciously. Sengoku also thought of Pelusolino's evaluation of Luo and Hoshigaki Kisame, having a terrifying combat power comparable to Admiral. If it was another Marine, Sengoku would of course be very happy with this level of combat power, but when he thought that Luo had offended the Celestial Dragons at the beginning, he had some hesitation and helplessness. If Marine, who has no awareness of serving Celestial Dragons, is promoted to a high position, the consequences may be quite serious. In a word, no matter how strong the strength is, I have no sense of belonging to the world government. Without a basic sense of respect and service to Celestial Dragons, that can't be reused. As a superior, he can't afford to gamble, really can't afford to gamble. Certainly, think so, but Sengoku was reluctant to force Luo to be the opposite of Marine. After entering the era of the great pirates, Marine and the pirates have gradually been at a disadvantage in the long-term confrontation, especially in the face of the 4 sea emperors of the New World. Marine is also somewhat powerless. Therefore, if Luo is forced to join the 4 emperors' pirates, or he forms a pirates himself, I'm afraid Marine's situation will be more uncomfortable. It's really hard not to be promoted, and not to be able to turn around. Sengoku's brows were furrowed, and he felt a little irritable in his heart. With the title of the resourceful general, he had been a marshal for so many years, and it was the first time that he encountered such a difficult thing. Now how to do? Thinking that the situation at West Blue has gotten out of control. Sengoku took a deep breath, a look of determination flashed in his eyes. There is nothing to say, since he can no longer suppress it, he will come to add fuel to the flames. The senior cadre of the Don Quixote family Diamandi died in West Blue, which will definitely annoy the big pirate Don Quixote Doflamingo. In order to maintain the power and dignity of the Don Quixote family, Doflamingo will definitely go to West Blue. Once Doflamingo goes to West Blue to find trouble with Luo, then there's a good show to watch. As for reminding Doflamingo that Luo and Hoshigaki Kisame of the West Blue T1 branch are strong, comparable to Marine Admiral. Stop kidding. For a long time, Don Quixote Doflamingo has done whatever he wants in the underground dark world of the sea, doing some illegal activities. Due to his special status, naval headquarters can't blatantly move him. Now, it's time for Doflamingo to experience true despair. So, under such circumstances, Sengoku didn't hesitate, and picked up the phone worm neatly. And a few days ago, Don Quixote Doflamingo popped up in South Blue. Fearing that Doflamingo was doing something in South Blue, Staff Crane went after him. It's time for Staff Crane to come back. Have a good time watching the show. South Blue in the 4 seas. Above the endless sea. A Marine's top warship is sailing fast on the sea. On deck, Staff Crane holding a telescope. Looking at a pirate ship that was escaping right in front of him, he couldn't help showing a playful look. This Doflamingo, stay away from Dressrosa. What are you doing in South Blue? It's all right now, the chasers are running around, See if I don't take care of you. Follow me. Before long, Staff Crane gave an order to a Commodore next to him wearily, and prepared to go to the cabin to rest for a while. Baloo, Baloo. But, at this time, the phone bug that Staff Officer Crane carried with him rang. Staff Officer Crane frowned and answered the phone bug. Xiaohei, come back. Sengoku's voice came from the other end of the phone bug. Why? Hearing this sentence, Staff Officer Crane showed a puzzled expression. Something big has happened to West Blue. On the other end of the phone bug, Sengoku said very seriously, the annual Mafia convention held by West Blue was taken over by Luolei and Hoshigaki Kisame of the T3 branch, and Diamante, a senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, also died. In the hands of Hoshigaki Kisame. What? The voice did not fall. Even the calm and composed staff officer he could not help but let out an exclamation. West Blue. Such a big thing happened in West Blue, and the West Blue Mafia conference was all over the pot. Does that mean that the giants of the West Blue underground dark world and the chiefs of the 5 Mafia families have been arrested? Things seem to be getting serious. Wait a minute. Sengoku sent me back to Naval headquarters. That must be to make Doflamingo go to West Blue to get revenge. There's a good show to watch. Almost in an instant, Staff Crane understood why Sengoku wanted her to go back. It turned out that he wanted Doflamingo to take the initiative to go to West Blue for revenge. Okay, I'll return immediately. The next moment, staff officer he smiled wisely, and a smile flashed in his deep pupils. She wondered how Doflamingo would look when he knew the true strengths of Luolei and Hoshigaki Kisame. You must be very grateful to her, right? We'll definitely be grateful to Marine's 8th ancestors. Soon, the Marine's top warship, where the Crane's staff was located, was evacuated. This made a pirate ship of the Don Quixote family, which was escaping frantically, bewildered and unbelievable for a while. After half an hour, the pirate ship of the Don Quixote family. They stopped on the shore of an uninhabited island and rested. This staff officer Crane, why didn't he chase after him? He's really sick. On deck, Doflamingo held a goblet with a gloomy expression, and took a sip of red wine with a little irritability. Nimas, he's just bored. Come and play in South Blue. By the way, integrate the underground dark forces of South Blue. However, he was chased by Marine's staff Crane and fled around like a bereaved dog. Thinking about it, he felt a little embarrassed and uncomfortable. Fortunately, Staff Officer Crane is gone, and he has enough time to integrate the underground dark forces in South Blue and expand the influence of the Don Quixote family in South Blue several times. Dover, something bad happened. Sudden. With a panicked voice, I saw Torapal, one of the senior cadres of the Don Quixote family, wriggling over with snot, with a look of extreme horror and disbelief. What's the matter? Doflamingo frowned and said, could it be that Marine's staff Crane is catching up again? Do not. Torapal's face was very ugly, and he said tremblingly, West Blue, something big happened in West Blue. The Mafia Congress was taken by the head of the T3 branch, Luolei, we senior cadre of the Don Quixote family. When it comes to this, Torapal seemed to be a little shocked and scared, and his speech was intermittent. What exactly? Seeing Torapal's trembling expression, Doflamingo was not in a good mood, and scolded him sharply. Diamante is dead. Torapal gritted his teeth, took a deep breath, and said amazingly, the throat was stepped on, and the body was hung on the pillar. What did you say? In that fish pond in West Blue, who is so bold and dares to do something to our Don Quixote family? Swipe. This is the sound of the goblet being squeezed. Maybe too shocked. Doflamingo's body still stood up from the chair, a look of disbelief flashing across his cheeks. Diamante is dead, or was someone dropped the body on the pillar? This is literally hitting the Don Quixote family in the face in front of the entire West Blue. More importantly, Diamante, is the 4 senior cadres of Don Quixote, and the relationship with Doflamingo is not ordinary, far beyond the relationship between master and servant. So, Diamante's death, Doflamingo can't stand it, absolutely can't stand it. Dover. According to the news from West Blue, it seems that Luolei of the West Blue T3 branch and a man with a shark face did it. Torapal's voice was trembling slightly, and his face changed. Also incredible is the ultimate. There has never been. The Don Quixote family has never been slapped like this before. Now that Diamante is dead, it looks like a deliberate provocation by the West Blue Marine T3 branch. Quiet. Under such circumstances. On deck, soon it fell into a dead silence. The atmosphere became more and more depressing, and perceiving this aura, the pirates of the Don Quixote family on the deck silently lowered their heads. No one dared to speak, and could only stand there in cold sweat. They know very well that Dover is angry, and when Dover is angry, West Blue will bleed into a river, setting off a bloody storm. Fur was actually made by Marine from the West Bluet 3 branch. I do not know how long it has been. Doflamingo let out his own unique laugh with a gloomy face. Very good, really good. I don't know who gave the courage of the West Blue T3 branch, that Marine named Luole. He is dead. No one can save me, Doflamingo said. Boom. After this sentence, no sign. A terrifying aura surged out from Doflamingo's body and swept out in all directions. No doubt. This is Conqueror's Hockey. Boss Dover is angry. What a powerful aura, it's really terrifying. When the boss of Dover is angry, the West Blue T3 branch is afraid that it will be destroyed by the group. Quote. Feeling this undisguised pressure, the pirates of the Don Quixote family on the deck, even Toripal, all looked terrified, and they didn't even dare to breathe, for fear of annoying Doflamingo, who was in a fit of rage. After half an hour, who is that Marine named Luole? Doflamingo's mind moved, and he restrained Conqueror's Hockey, then took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in his heart, and said coldly, I don't believe the strength of the West Blue T3 branch will be so strong. According to the information we have collected, that Luole seems to be a super genius of Marine, who graduated from the recruit camp with the first place, but 3 years ago, he offended the Celestial Dragons and was awarded by Naval headquarters. The snow fell into West Blue and became the head of the T3 branch. Toripal licked his snot and made a careful report. Is that the case, the Marine genius hidden in the snow? Doflamingo showed a slightly mocking expression and said in a see-through tone, looks like something so big has happened to West Blue. Marine has got the news. Staff Crane didn't chase us, he just wanted me to go to West Blue and clean up the branch head of the T3 branch, Luole. It's a good one, 2 birds with 1 stone. Naval headquarters has calculated too much. In an instant, reminiscing that the staff officer he suddenly stopped chasing after him just now. Doflamingo suddenly realized something, so Marine wanted to use him. A genius who was hidden in the snow suddenly broke out. Maybe Naval headquarters has some shame, and wanted to take advantage of Diamante's death and use a knife to kill. If you want to take advantage of me, then I will do as you wish and go to West Blue reluctantly. The next moment, Doflamingo spread his hands and smiled, but the laughter seemed to be a little creepy. The pair of sunglasses, the lower eyes flashed with a crazy look. Marine wants to use him. Then he let Marine steal chickens without losing rice. West Blue will flow into rivers of blood. A day later. What happened to West Blue? With the speed of lightning speed, as the newspaper spread in all directions. The annual Mafia conference has become the end of the West Blue Underground Dark World. The giants of the West Blue Underground Dark World and the leaders of the 4 major Mafia families were wiped out by Marine. Shocked, West Blue T3 branch chief Luole and his subordinate Hoshigaki Kisame swept the Mafia convention. One of the 5 Mafia families, the head of the Capone family, Capone Beige, was shot in the head by Hoshigaki Kisame, and the senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, Diamante, was shot in the throat by Hoshigaki Kisame. Luole, the head of the West Blue T3 branch, and his subordinate Hoshigaki Kisame don't make a move. As soon as they make a move, they will give the West Blue Underground Dark World a pot. The strength of West Blue Marine is terrifying. Quote. One message after another directly detonated the entire West Blue. Countless people in West Blue were shocked for a moment. When West Blue's Marine, all so tough. No way. No one thought. The annual Mafia conference has actually become the end of the West Blue Underground Dark World giants and the Mafia family. The strength of West Blue T3 branch head Luole and his subordinate Hoshigaki Kisame is simply terrifying. More importantly, in the face of Diamante, the senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, Luole, the head of the West Blue T3 branch, and his subordinates, Hoshigaki Kisame, were merciless and killed without mercy. It seems that the Don Quixote family was not released at all. Normal in the eyes. That's some kind of slap in the face of the Don Quixote family. Shock. West Blue is shaking. The sudden sword of the West Blue Marine T3 branch immediately shook the quartet. It was at this time that the countless countries and civilians of West Blue realized that the strength of the T3 branch was so powerful that only 2 people swept the Mafia conference. Compared with the T3 branch, the so-called the first branch of West Blue pales in comparison. It is for this reason that Luo Lei, the head of the West Blue T3 branch, and his subordinate Hoshigaki Kisame were pushed to the forefront and officially entered the field of vision of all parties. Countless countries, forces, and some forces other than West Blue, the big pirates have begun to investigate the true background of Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame, the branch chiefs of the West Blue T3 branch. After all, in the eyes of many people, Marine is in West Blue hidden 2 high-end combat powers. I think it is purposeful. Without investigating clearly, many people have some trouble sleeping and sleeping. The results of it, I don't know if I don't investigate, but an investigation is really startling. Luo Lei, one of the 24th class of students brought by Marine Chief Instructor Zephyr, only spent half a year and graduated from the recruit camp with full marks, becoming a promising Marine Nova. Pity. Man is not as good as God. In an escort mission, because he ignored the orders of celestial dragons and did not give celestial dragons face, annoyed the world nobles, celestial dragons. In order to give an explanation to celestial dragons, Luo Lei was hidden by Marine's high-level rise and fall, and was demoted to the fish pond of West Blue. From a promising new star, he became the branch head of Marine West Blue T3 branch, with the rank of Commodore. And then, spent 3 years in obscurity in the T3 branch. During this period, there is no record of any shot. This time, it was Luo Lei's first shot at the Mafia conference after being hidden in the snow. As a result, West Blue was directly detonated. As for Hoshigaki Kisame, it seems to have appeared out of thin air. He was recruited by Luo Lei as his subordinate. He has very special abilities. He can control water to form a water prison. Diamante was easily blown up by Hoshigaki Kisame. Then, when information about Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame came to light, the whole West Blue, no, even many forces outside West Blue, some pirates and countries on the Grand Line, are all in uproar and confusion. Did you make a mistake? Luo Lei, the head of the West Blue T3 branch, was actually demoted to West Blue, and was buried by Marine. After 3 years, it broke out all at once. It's so incredible. However, unknown to everyone, Naval headquarters also suppressed a message. That is, Edward Wabel was actually beaten by Hoshigaki Kisame. Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame also beat Kizaru, one of the 3 admiral, violently. Otherwise, I am afraid it will not be more shocking. But, Rao is so. Countless people were also stunned for a moment. Under such circumstances, many people turned their attention to the Don Quixote family. Luo Lei, the head of the West Blue T3 branch, chose to kill Diamante, which showed that he wanted to step on the Don Quixote family and become famous throughout the sea. The goal is now achieved. West Blue shakes, and beyond West Blue shakes. Next, it depends on what the Don Quixote family is going to do. What's more, Luo Lei attacked Diamante as Marine, which means something different. Are Marines and pirates absolute opposites? Now Naval headquarters does not have a sword, but a Marine sword from West Blue. As the patriarch of the Don Quixote family, what will Doflamingo do? So, countless eyes are focused on West Blue. Everyone knows that a storm is about to break out in West Blue, and the entire West Blue may be turned upside down. In order to maintain the face and dignity of the Don Quixote family, Doflamingo will definitely take action. Now it depends on whether Marine will intervene. If he does not intervene, Doflamingo is afraid that he will directly kill West Blue. And the Don Quixote family did not disappoint all those who paid attention. Just half a day later, a very strong statement was released. Since Luo Lei of the West Blue T3 branch killed Diamante, a senior cadre of the Don Quixote family, he would have to pay the price in blood. The patriarch of the Don Quixote family, Doflamingo, already headed to West Blue as fast as possible, is bound to beat Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame. As soon as the news came out, West Blue, which was already in shock, once again set off a stormy sea. Countless people, they were terrified and speechless. The great pirate, Doflamingo, has gone to West Blue. Doesn't that mean West Blue is about to set off a bloodbath? Just thinking about it, some people make their scalps go numb. In this situation, countless people turn to Naval headquarters. West Blue is about to have a big event. Doflamingo is about to confront Luolei, the head of the West Blue T3 branch. So, as the headquarters of the West Blue T3 branch, what will Naval headquarters do? Will it send high-end combat support? Pity. Much to the disappointment of many, Naval headquarters is silent. Just like not knowing what happened to West Blue, it was a light cloud. How can Naval headquarters do this? If Naval headquarters doesn't intervene, West Blue will definitely be turned upside down. Could it be that the head of the West BLUET3 branch, Luolei, was abandoned? On the Grand Line, the leader of a certain force looked at West Blue and muttered to himself in disbelief. Of course, this is not just his own idea, but the common idea of countless people who focus on West Blue. Everyone knows that, if Naval headquarters does not intervene, Doflamingo will definitely take off in West Blue. Even if Luolei and Hoshigaki Kisame, the branch heads of West Blue T3 branch, swept the Mafia convention, they are not Doflamingo's opponents, right? After all, Doflamingo is a famous pirate in New World. Not like those stinky fish and rotten shrimp from West Blue. For a while, West Blue became agitated. There is a vague feeling that the mountains and the rain are about to come and the building is full of wind. At the same moment, West Blue, the base of the T3 branch. But it's a cloudless breeze. After copying the homes of the 5 Mafia at the fastest speed, Luolei and Hoshigaki Kisame came home full of rewards, not caring about West Blue, who was about to come. Ding! Congratulations host, you have completed the daily quest, 6 hours of practice reward, 0.06% experience. Ding! The fused Senju Tobarama template, unlocked to 65%. Call, listen to the prompts in your head. Luolei on the training ground opened his eyes and could not help but let out a sigh of relief. Not easy. It's really not easy. Add the time to Winston Island to sweep the Mafia convention. It took him about a month to unlock Senju Tobarama's template from 61% to 65%. Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the hidden task of the God-level lottery system, Mingzhen West Blue, rewarding 5% experience and a chance to draw a free lottery. Ding! The fused Senju Tobarama template, unlocked to 70%. Next moment, with the sound of the system sounding again, Luolei's expression froze, and he suddenly became a little confused. What? And hidden missions. Famous West Blue, directly rewarded with 5% experience. Another chance for a free raffle. This is too cool, right? The system is really hidden too deep. To be honest, Luolei always thought that by working hard and completing daily training tasks, he could unlock and integrate the template of Senju Tobarama step by step. Result: the system told him with facts. If you work hard, you might as well complete the hidden quests, which can speed up the unlocking of templates that integrate Senju Tobarama, and you can also get a chance to win a free lottery. Hey, I've been practicing silently for 3 years. After a few seconds, Luolei smiled dumbly and sighed helplessly. Ding! Congratulations to host, for unlocking the Senju Tobarama template to 70%, explaining the A-level forbidden technique, tandem paper bombs. A grade forbidden technique infinite blasting ninjutsu, tandem paper bombs. Luolei nodded thoughtfully. The next moment, in Luolei's spiritual world, suddenly a battle screen appeared. I saw second Hokage Senju Tobarama as attacking Ten Tails Jinchuriki Uchiha Obito. Using the Flying Thunder God technique, the detonating amulet was attached to Uchiha Obito's arms, waist, and legs at a lightning quick speed, and detonated it. Then, he took out a detonating amulet from the dirty body and threw it at Obito. In an instant, the detonator loops infinitely, summoning out trillions of detonators, causing an infinite series of explosions. In the face of such a terrifying explosion attack, Uchiha Obito used the yin and yang escape to defend, but after half an hour, Luolei reacted from this integration with a horrified expression, and his spirit returned to reality. The 6 paths level is so terrifying. Soon, Luolei looked horrified and couldn't help sighing after sensing his already perfect master A-level forbidden technique, tandem paper bombs. He didn't even think. This time in order to incorporate Senju Tobarama's A-level forbidden technique, tandem paper bombs. The scene experience given to him was actually a battle in the Fourth Ninja World War, especially seeing the terrifying power of Ten Tails Jinchuriki Uchiha Obito. Luo Lei's heart couldn't calm down for a long time. 6 paths level ninja. It really is like a godlike existence. I still have to practice harder. After a while, Luo Lei came back to his senses and muttered to himself, no matter what, first unlock and merge the character templates of second Hokage Senju Tobarama, and then find a way to evolve Baian to Tenseigen. No way. As strength increases, ordinary white eyes are no longer enough. Only by evolving to Tenseigen, may Luo Lei's strength be improved to a higher level. Certainly, this time, the template of Senju Tobarama is unlocked to 70%, in addition to unlocking the A-level forbidden technique, tandem paper bombs. There is another hidden gain. That is all of Senju Tobarama's water-style ninjutsu. He can basically use it without obstacles. In the past, he was able to use Senju Tobarama's water style, but he could only use some basic water styles. Now, he has basically mastered it, especially with the Senju Hashirama's Sage Body, which should be able to explode with more terrifying power. If there is no miscalculation, my current overall strength should be higher than Senju Tobarama, right? Luo Lei seemed to have thought of something, and a smile flashed in his white eyes. Today, his physical fitness is extremely strong, and observation haki has also cultivated to the top level. With armament haki and marine 6 styles, his strength is not weak. Although it seems that Senju Tobarama's template is only unlocked to 70%. But, everything that can be unlocked has been unlocked. What about Flying Thunder God Technique, Shadow Clone Technique, Water Style Ninjutsu, Tandem Paper Bombs, etc., only Impure World Reincarnation, Multiple Shadow Clone Technique, Weird Power, Soul Imprisonment Technique, Enchantment, 4 Red Yang Formation, etc. are not unlocked. By the way, the system seems to have given a free lottery opportunity, right? Before long, a look of anticipation flashed across Luo Lei's cheeks, and he ordered without hesitation, "System, use this chance for a free lottery." The voice did not fall. In the translucent space that Luo Lei could only see, the pointer of the roulette wheel began to spin rapidly. Ding! Congratulations to host. Congratulations to host. You were unlucky, you didn't get anything, and try harder next time. Ah, the beep just fell. Luo Lei's expression froze. Really, cheap is not good quality. The system is giving it away for free. I'm afraid that the chance of winning is 0, right? What's more, this god-level lottery system has not drawn anything, and he is still congratulating him with a hammer. HMPH. Fortunately, I was already prepared. The next moment, Luo Lei slowly got up and looked at the more than 40 boxes placed on the edge of the training ground. That's right, in these boxes, all containing things copied from the 5 Mafia families. There is also a part of no value, which has been placed in the warehouse of the T3 base. Speaking of which, the 5 Mafia families in West Blue have been entrenched in West Blue for hundreds of years, but when Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame went to raid their homes, they discovered that the 5 Mafia families are really poor, far from being poor. As rich as imagined. System, how many lottery points can these treasures be exchanged for? Ding. Host, you can exchange 1.4 million lottery points, whether to exchange. Exchange it. Luo Lei nodded without any hesitation. Ding. Congratulations to host, the 1.4 million lottery points have been successfully redeemed. Perfect. As soon as the system's notification sound fell, Luo Lei's eyes flashed with excitement, and then he took a large plate next to him and said, how many lottery points can be exchanged for these 6 devil fruits? Quote. Ding. Host, you can exchange for 1.2 million lottery points. Only 1.2 million. Luo Lei said incredulously, System, are you mistaken? There is also a zone ancient species devil fruit. I know, but, is it worth so much? Host, do you want to exchange it? The system's voice did not fluctuate, and the machine said coldly. Exchange it. Luo Lei thought for a while, then nodded. Anyway, of the 6 devil fruits, 3 of them were robbed at the Mafia conference, and the other 3 were stolen from the homes of the other 4 major Mafia families. Now they are considered waste. Ding. Congratulations to host, the 1.2 million lucky draw points have been successfully redeemed, and now we have a total of 2.6 million lucky draw points. It is good. Luo clenched his fist a little excitedly. After waiting for so many years, I finally got the chance to redeem 2 advanced random draws, which is really not easy. System, exchange for an advanced random draw for me. Ding, consumes 1 million lottery points. There are 1.6 million lottery points left. A high-level random lottery is successfully redeemed. Host, whether to use. Use. After saying this, Luo turned his excited eyes to the translucent turntable that only he could see. What's more, the first high-level random lottery in his life is about to begin, hoping to draw something good. Ding. Congrats host. Congratulations host, I've drawn the 4th Raikage Yui peak period from the character summoning card, Hokage Ninja. Laugh. As the hands stopped turning, the crisp mechanical sound of the system rang out. Ah, is another character summoning card? Or is it a ninja again? Listen to the system prompts. Although Luo knew for a long time that the advanced lottery would draw good things, he couldn't help but stunned. What else can I say? He drew another ninja. He also knows about 4th Raikage. He is the son of 3rd Raikage. He is violent and powerful. When he was young, he cut off the left corner of 8 tails with one hand and honed lightning-style chakra mode very skillfully. It is said that the amazing speed can almost comparable to Namikaze Minato, as fast as blue lightning. He also served as the supreme commander of the ninja allied forces in the 4th Ninja World War, and his ability and strength are beyond doubt. System, exchange me for another advanced random draw. Soon, Luo looked at the remaining lottery points and ordered another sentence. Ding, consumes 1 million lottery points. There are 600,000 lottery points left. A high-level random lottery exchange is successful. Host, whether to use. Use. Ding. Congratulations host. The 2nd random lottery drew Devil Fruit Zone U Demon's Ligong form, system produced. Must be a high-quality product, absolutely no side effects, you can use it with confidence. Ding. Congratulations host. The 2nd random lottery drew Devil Fruit Zone U Demon's Ligong form, system produced. Must be a high-quality product, absolutely no side effects, you can use it with confidence. Another devil fruit with no side effects. Listen to the system prompts. Luo was stunned for a moment, and was immediately speechless. Last time, I drew a devil fruit in the form of a fish and fish fruit, an ancient species, and a megalodon, and ate it for Hoshigaki Kisame. Now I have drawn another devil fruit in the form of Zone U Demon's Ligong. At first glance, we know that it is prepared for 4th Raikage Yui, and I want to make Yui stronger. Wait a minute, this phantom beast's Ligong is not one of the 3 holy beasts, Ligong, right? The next moment, Luo seemed to have thought of something, and his expression suddenly became surprised. If it is really Ligong, one of the 3 holy beasts, then there are still some collocations with 4th Raikage Yui. At least, 4th Raikage Yui's lightning-style chakra mode will definitely be more pervert, and the strength is also will transform. Okay, then summon Yui. Before long, Luo's eyes must have been rolled, and he quietly ordered. Originally, he thought that there was only one subordinate of Hoshigaki Kisame, and there were still some not enough. Now he can summon a powerful ninja subordinate. Thinking about it, it is still a beautiful thing. Ding. Host. Calling. Laugh. After a few seconds, the space in front of Luo fluctuated for a while. I saw a man with dark skin, light yellow hair, a very strong build, wearing a white cloak, and a green shuriken logo tattooed on his shoulders, appearing on the training ground. Boss Luo. After appearing, a smile flashed in Yui's deep eyes, and she said something very respectfully. Looking at the respectful 4th Raikage, Luo nodded without any surprises. With the intervention of the system, he has become Yui's boss, and naturally he doesn't have to worry about Yui's dissatisfaction. System, extract devil fruit in Zone U Demon's Ligong form. Laugh. A cracking sound rang out. A devil fruit full of mysterious patterns appeared in Luo's hands. Take it. Taking a look at the devil fruit in his hand, Luo threw it to Yui neatly and said, eat him, you will become stronger. Lightning-style chakra mode will be more pervert, more able to incarnate the legendary holy beast Raikage, control the thunder and lightning. What? A ray of disbelief appeared on Yui's rough cheeks. This is the secret treasure of the sea, devil fruit. Seemingly seeing Yui's doubts, Luolei said slowly, this is a devil fruit in the form of zone, phantom beast, and thunder god without any side effects. After eating it, you will know how much it's amazing. It is good. Almost without hesitation, Yui took devil fruit and immediately started eating. Well, although it doesn't taste good, it's barely enough to eat. Eating devil fruit, Yui's expression didn't change in any way, and she commented on the taste of devil fruit for some reason, which means to taste devil fruit as a food. Ah, seeing Yui eating so seriously. Luolei originally wanted to say that devil fruit only needs one bite, but he swallowed it and didn't say anything. After all, who can stop a foodie from eating? Even shit. Let Yui finish eating. Soon, after Yu and Zhang have eaten all the devil fruits in Zone, you demons, and Thunder God. There are almost no signs. A terrifying power of lightning swept out of Yui's body. Crackling, crackling, immediately after, with terrifying thunder and lightning. Yui's body began to cover chakra and lightning. Obviously, Yui, who couldn't suppress the energy in her body, directly entered lightning-style chakra mode, and a lightning shock wave broke out that made the air tremble slightly. And this is just the beginning. Crack, crack. Perhaps the power of thunder and lightning is too powerful. With Yui as the center, wisps of blue lightning began to appear in the air. 1 second, 10 seconds, 5 minutes. Finally, after 20 minutes, the entire west blue at -1 branch was covered with dense blue lightning. And in mid-air, at some point in time, dark black thunderclouds had gathered, which had a taste of black clouds overcoming the city. As expected of the devil fruit in the form of zone, phantom beast, and thunder god, it can actually erupt with such a powerful thunder and lightning power. At this time, on the training ground, Luolei looked wrapped in thunder and lightning, like the legendary thunder god of the night moon. I sighed involuntarily. He is very clear. Yui's strength has achieved a transformation, and his abilities in all aspects may have become stronger. Of course, perhaps knowing that Luolei is here, none of the thunder and lightning on the training ground hit him. Apparently Yui is in control. So strong. Swish. A cracking sound rang out. I saw Hoshigaki Kisame flying over from the central area of the T3 base, looking at Yui, who was in the transformation period and was in control of thunder and lightning, and couldn't help but let out an exclamation sound. Kisame, pick me up. Facing the sudden appearance of Hoshigaki Kisame, Yui seemed to have found the target of venting. With a grumpy roar, his body flashed, carrying endless thunder and lightning, and attacked Hoshigaki Kisame extremely savagely and wildly. Good come. A flash of fighting intent flashed in Hoshigaki Kisame's eyes, and while the chakra surging all over his body, strands of armament hockey wrapped around his fists and rushed straight up. Boom. The next moment, Yui and Hoshigaki Kisame faced each other, and the two fists covered by different energies collided with each other. Boom. In an instant, time and space seemed to stand still. Maybe a second, maybe a minute. A deafening explosion sounded, and the powerful collision shockwave made the sea area tremble slightly, and as the main target, the island where the West Blue T3 branch was located was shaken out for dozens of times. A huge crack visible to the naked eye. On the training ground, whether it was Hoshigaki Kisame or Yui, after their fists collided, they didn't close their fists, but kept their punches, not letting each other go. Crack, crack. Perhaps the power of the fist confrontation was too terrifying. The cracks in the air began to gradually expand and spread outward. Boom. In the next moment, the ground between the two finally could not bear the strong collision of the two majestic forces, and in an instant a crack spread across the entire T3 branch. And this seems to be a fuse. Dozens of other huge cracks visible to the naked eye on the island began to expand, and the T3 branch became shaky. Watching Hoshigaki Kisame forcibly resisting his fist, Yui's cheeks showed a look of surprise. As fourth Raikage, he is proud of ninjutsu, especially in Raikag's Thunderbolt. Under the blessing of the power, he felt that he could blow up a cage-level powerhouse with one punch. The results of it, but he was blocked by Hoshigaki Kisame, a guy who is not good at taijutsu. Fourth Raikage, you've become stronger, but I can't stand still. Hoshigaki Kisame's body stood still, a slight smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he said softly, your ninjutsu is very strong, but my physical skills are not weak. After this sentence, a wisp of armament haki appeared on Hoshigaki Kisami's fist. Immediately, a more terrifying force burst out from Hoshigaki Kisami's fist. Boom! A majestic force roared out. With a deafening roar, the ground under Yayui's feet shattered into ashes. Then, his body staggered back, and after several steps in a row, he finally stopped. How is this possible? Seeing himself being shaken back by the power of Hoshigaki Kisame, Yayui, who regained her footing, opened her eyes wide, revealing a look of shock and disbelief. His power was actually suppressed by Hoshigaki Kisame. Didn't think of it. Hoshigaki Kisame grinned. A smile flashed in the golden pupils. This fourth Raikage thinks that his ninjutsu is very good, and after eating devil fruit, he is even more irritable. As everyone knows, today is different from the past. You ate devil fruit, and I also ate devil fruit. It's still the fish and fish fruit that is good at strength ancient species megalodon form, plus he has learned armament haki, his physical fitness is already very strong. It's not right, in addition to chakra, you also have an energy that can improve your attack power and defense power. Yayui looked a little dignified, glanced at the strands of armament haki on Hoshigaki Kisami's fist, and said in a low tone. That's right. Hoshigaki Kisame nodded indisputably and said, this is armament haki, one of Conqueror's hakis. It can improve personal defense, acting like invisible armor. It can also evolve into attack power, increasing destructive power. Yes, a ray of light flashed in Yayui's eyes, and she blurted out, it looks like I'm going to learn armament haki too, but before that. When it comes to this, Yayui paused for a while, and suddenly increased his tone, I haven't had enough fun yet, let's continue. The voice did not fall. A terrifying lightning force mixed with lightning-style chakra. Once again, it poured out from Yayui's body at a speed that could not be concealed by the ears, and it had a taste of 800 rounds of battle. It is good. Hoshigaki Kisame was not afraid at all, and an extremely powerful aura burst out as well. These two guys. Seeing Hoshigaki Kisame and Yayui bursting out again, black lines appeared on Luolei's forehead. You guys are having a great time. But, the West Bluet 3 branch will be destroyed by you, right? Go to the sea to fight. The next moment, looking at Hoshigaki Kisame and Yayui who were still fighting each other, Luolei shook his head and said angrily, if we fight here again, the T3 branch will be completely finished. It is good. No problem, boss Luolei. Swish. The voice did not fall. Accompanied by two piercing sounds. The bodies of Hoshigaki Kisame and Yayui turned into an afterimage and flew out towards the sea in the distance. After a few minutes, rumbling, on the distant sea, a deafening roar resounded. Between the humming and tremors, wisps of terrifying air waves swept out like violent storms, and directly set off turbulent waves on the sea, forming a terrifying hurricane storm, surging wildly in all directions. At this time, if anyone is here, you will find that in the center of the air wave, the energies from terror to ultimate are intertwined. The holy beast Lei Gong incarnated by Yayui, Hoshigaki Kisame incarnates the ancient megalodon, and they are fighting violently. Forget it. I'm too lazy to care about you. Looking at the earth-shattering sea level, Luolei's mouth was slightly raised, and he calmed down, and silently ordered, System, I want to take a look at the latest attribute panel. Ding. Host's latest property panel is being generated. Ding. The latest attribute panel is generated. Dash. Host. Luolei. Age. 15 years old. Abilities. Shave Intermediate, Iron Body Intermediate, Paper Arts Intermediate, Moonwalk Intermediate, Tempest Kick Intermediate, Finger Pistol Intermediate, Observation Haki, Top Armament Haki Intermediate, Second Hokage. Senju Tobarama's Template Unlock Fusion 70% Gentle Fist Grandmaster Buy-in, Senju Hashirama's Sage Body, Flying Thunder God Technique Forbidden Technique Water Style Grandmaster Tandem Paper Bombs. Character Summons. Hoshigaki Kisame, Night Moon Eye. Random Lottery. 0 times. Draw points. 600,000 points. Sure enough, not much has changed. Taking a quick glance around, Luolei shook his head and asked the system to put away the property panel. Currently, his attributes have not changed drastically. It is entering a bottleneck. The only good news may be that Water Style has reached Grandmaster level. Still practice hard. The next moment, Luo didn't think too much, chakra surging, his hands quickly knotted, shadow clone technique. Puff, puff, more than 50 shadow clone appeared on the training ground. Because, after shadow clone is released, brings memories and experiences back to the ontology. Therefore, Luo plans to let shadow clone practice various ninjutsu. In the case of the main body, it is to carry out physical training, and strive to achieve the effect of getting twice the result with half the effort. Start. Before long, Luo lay on the training ground. A new round of boring training began. As for the distant sea, the battle between Yaoi and Hoshigaki Kisame is still going on, and there is a feeling of having a great time. Finally, after half a day, the battle between Hoshigaki Kisame and Yazuki just ended. Instead of being exhausted as she imagined, Yaoi started to ask Hoshigaki Kisame about armament hockey, observation hockey, and the training of Marine 6 styles with great interest. In Yaoi's words, as a ninja who is good at ninjutsu, armament hockey, observation hockey, Marine 6 styles were made just for him. Once he can learn it, his ninjutsu will not have a transformation, and his strength will also have a quality enhancement. To this, Hoshigaki Kisame nodded happily. If one is strong, it is nothing. If everyone is strong, that is the best. Not to mention, Luo's boss is taking the elite route. If he and Yaoi's strengths can't stand on their own, wouldn't that live up to Lord Luo's expectations? So, while Luo was practicing, Yaoi and Hoshigaki Kisame have also joined the practice one after another. At the same time, the T3 branch is light and windy. The whole West Blue is undercurrent. There is a faint smell of wind and rain coming, and the mountains are full of buildings. Especially the various countries of West Blue, the pirates, the remnants of the underground dark world, and the first branch of the West Blue Marine. With the passage of time, it has become a mess. Finally, after 3 days, a message came out. Let the situation of West Blue explode in an instant. As for the content of the news, it was astonishing that Don Quixote Doflamingo, a family member of the Don Quixote family, had entered West Blue and was rushing towards the sea area where the West Blue T3 branch was located at a very fast speed. As soon as the news came out, like a drop of water in a pan, the whole West Blue immediately set off a stormy wave, and it couldn't be calmed down. West Blue is about to set off a bloodbath. In this situation, countless eyes turned to the sea area where the West Blue T3 branch was located. Everyone knows that a battle that is bound to detonate West Blue, and even the entire sea, may take place. The first branch of West Blue Marine is the most tangled. They picked up a bargain and captured the giants of the West Blue underground dark forces and the leaders of the 4 major Mafia families. They thought it was a good thing, but what happened? Naval headquarters actually did not say anything, just a few words of praise. Especially after learning that Don Quixote Doflamingo is coming to West Blue. The first branch of West Blue Marine asked Naval headquarters for instructions again, and wanted to have Naval headquarters send people over, but the answer was that they waited to capture Doflamingo. This made the head of West Blue's first branch, Alfred Rear Admiral, almost scolded her mother. What are you kidding? Don Quixote Doflamingo is a big pirate with a reward of 340 million berry. He came to West Blue, didn't God block and kill God and Buddha block and kill Buddha. The West BLUET3 branch is afraid that it is doomed. As for the captive Doflamingo, I'm afraid Naval headquarters is not dreaming. Some time ago, Marine's former Admiral Black Arm Zephyr was attacked in West Blue, and now there is a Don Quixote Doflamingo. West Blue is really difficult. At this time, in an office of the first branch of West Blue, Alfred Rear Admiral's expression changed and he couldn't help sighing. Actually, up to now, he still has some doubts. How did the pirates who attacked Marine's predecessor, Admiral Black Arm Zephyr, get killed? The public information given by Naval headquarters is that Kizaru, one of Marine's 3 admirals, arrived at a critical moment, but Alfred Rear Admiral doesn't think so. After all, the time is not right. No, still go to West Blue T3 branch. I do not know how long it has been. Thinking of the Mafia conference that was swept away and the specious reply from Naval headquarters, Alfred Rear Admiral's eyes lit up. He vaguely realized something in his heart, and made a neat decision. He's going to West Blue's T3 branch with Marine from West Blue's first branch. Bet 1. The Marine of West Blue will be famous in the sea. shocking the pirates and the remnants of the underground dark forces. Lost the bet, then only shopping for Doflamingo. Anyway, as an aspiring Marine, huddled like a tortoise in West Blue's first branch, he really couldn't. Soon, 2 days later, in the waters where the West Bluet 3 branch is located. On the sea, there are already many pirate ships with different flags. Among them are 5 warships flying the Marine flag, undoubtedly the most conspicuous. No doubt, are waiting for Doflamingo. Everyone wanted to see what the West Blue T3 branch chiefs, Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame, would do in the face of Doflamingo, whether they would fight to the death, surrender on their knees, or be tortured and killed by Doflamingo. Certainly, after seeing the Marine warships of the 1st Marine branch of West Blue, a lot of people also showed a sneer. There is a way to heaven, you don't go, and there is no door to hell, you come by yourself. Knowing that Doflamingo is coming, you Marine dare to show up. I'm afraid you don't know how to write the word dead. Silently, no one above Marine spoke, making the atmosphere dignified. Finally, I do not know how long it has been. In the distance where the sea and the sky meet, a dark shadow suddenly appeared. Just started, many people thought it was a bird creature. But, as the distance got closer, the expressions of many people gradually became stiff. Because, that's not some bird creature, but a man, more precisely, Don Quixote Doflamingo. Doflamingo is here. Come on, that man is here. The West Blue T3 branch has entered the countdown to destruction, and Doflamingo is sure to kill. Quote. After seeing who was coming. In this sea area, the expressions of many people became solemn. Everyone knows that since Don Quixote Doflamingo is here, he will definitely be furious and attack the West Blue T3 branch directly. The Marine of the 1st branch of West Blue, headed by Alfred Rear Admiral, gradually turned into horror and horror. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Straws of cold sweat fell involuntarily. Many Marines from the 1st branch of West Blue, for some reason, their bodies trembled. It was the power of Don Quixote Doflamingo, too powerful and terrifying. Even the well-prepared Alfred Rear Admiral had some chills down his spine. He admits that he has the element of gambling, but, when he really faced the big pirate, Don Quixote Doflamingo, he was still a little frightened in his heart. What if he made a wrong bet? At the same time, laugh, as Doflamingo's figure gets closer. The atmosphere in this sea area gradually became depressed. Unconsciously, countless black clouds gathered in midair, a feeling of heaviness and oppression of the black clouds overwhelming the city, and many people could hardly breathe. No doubt, this is the invisible sense of oppression brought by Don Quixote Doflamingo. As long as he is weaker than him, they will be severely suppressed, and their minds will be greatly affected and severely damaged. Furfur, Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame of the T3 branch, how are you? In the end, when Doflamingo arrived at the pier on the island where the T3 branch was located, he sent out an extremely evil, full of killing the voice of will. Anger, extreme anger. After reaching the West Bluet 3 branch, Doflamingo's pent-up anger broke out completely. As a big pirate who is well known in the Grand Line, it is the first time that he has come to such a remote place as the T3 branch, which is a disgrace to his reputation. So, he has made up his mind. Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame must be taught a lesson, and let them know the power of the Don Quixote family, which cannot be violated. Hee, are you finally here? Shoo, shoo. After a few seconds, accompanied by a few broken voices, I saw 3 figures in black trench coats embroidered with red clouds, appearing on the pier, looking at Doflamingo indifferently. You still dare to show up? Looking at Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame who appeared. The smile on Doflamingo's cheeks was wider and more sinister. I thought Luo Lei and Hoshigaki Kisame would tremble with fright. Seems to be overthinking it. As for Yui, but it was ignored by Doflamingo gorgeously. In his opinion, this dark-skinned, light yellow-haired, very strong old man was not worth mentioning because he was not here to make up the number. Why not? Luo Lei shrugged lightly and said indifferently, you come to court yourself, of course I will fulfill you. All right. From start to finish, Luo Lei actually didn't take Doflamingo in his eyes. He didn't care about the so-called West Blue's vibration, but since Doflamingo is here, let Yui or Hoshigaki Kisame simply move their muscles and become famous by stepping on Doflamingo. Fur, arrogant guy, go to hell. Looking at Luo Lei, who was a dead duck with a tough mouth, Doflamingo shook his head. The expression on his cheeks became more and more evil and full of murderous intent. He didn't want to talk nonsense anymore, and just shook his fingers lightly. Swish. Although it was just a simple action, an astonishing killing intent erupted. Immediately after, a silk thread invisible to the naked eye seemed to appear out of thin air, cutting horizontally towards Luo Lei, Hoshigaki Kisame, and Yaoi at an extremely fast speed. Perhaps it was too sharp, causing a harsh rubbing sound to be heard in the air. Who of you shot? However, facing Doflamingo's attack, Luo Lei didn't seem to see it, but instead glanced at Hoshigaki Kisame and Yaoi. Let I do it. Hoshigaki Kisame grinned, revealing his sharp fangs, and said meaningfully, I want to see Doflamingo's fear of being dominated by ninjutsu. Can. Yaoi smiled confidently, crossed her chest with both hands, and took 2 straight steps forward. HMPH. I'll die. Listening to the conversations of Luo Lei and others, Doflamingo wanted to laugh angrily, snorted coldly, and then accelerated the speed of the thread. In his opinion, the 3 guys in front of them are crazy. If you make a move, you are still twitching, you are going to die anyway, why do you care so much? Didn't you see that the silk thread was about to break through the air? Unfortunately, the invisible silk thread, with the momentum of breaking the sky, was easily grabbed by the right hand covered by the lightning-style chakra that was stretched out when it was about to hit Yaoi. How is this possible? See this scene. Don Quixote Doflamingo's expression was startled. But, I haven't come to think so much. A blue bolt of lightning broke through the air and struck him on the right cheek with a punch. Okay. Very fast. This was Doflamingo's body flying out, the last thought in his head. Okay. Very fast. This is Doflamingo's body flying out, the last thought on his mind. Boom. After a few seconds, a dull crash sounded. Doflamingo hit the ground hundreds of meters away, and a huge pothole was directly smashed. Quiet. The sea was instantly silent. Countless spectators watched Doflamingo fly away with a punch without any resistance, and his body froze on the deck. In their blank minds, a word emerged involuntarily. That's it. Famous, all-powerful, Don Quixote Doflamingo, who is considered a big man in New World. Is the strength like this? Did not expect. It really made a lot of people do not think. Originally, seeing Doflamingo's anger shot, everyone's heart began to hold a moment of silence for Luo Lei and others. But, the result was good. Doflamingo, who took the first shot, was caught by someone with his bare hands, and he was also kicked into the air with a counterattack. Many people who saw it had numbness in their scalps and couldn't help themselves. It's a really big difference. 1 second. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. As time goes by. Yaoi, who had just blasted away Doflamingo, entered lightning-style chakra mode directly, and her whole body was covered by sky-blue lightning, bursting out with extremely terrifying power and aura. What? Okay. What a powerful breath. Who is that very strong old man? Could it be that he is also from the West Blue T3 branch? Don Quixote Doflamingo was blown away by him. Is something wrong? Quote. Seeing Yaoi being covered by the sky-blue lightning-style armor, in this sea area, the people with stiff faces and blank minds seemed to be waking up from a dream, and they couldn't help but uttered unbelievable voices. What? How did such a monster appear in the West Blue T3 branch? At this time, Marine from the first branch of West Blue, headed by Alfred Rear Admiral, couldn't keep his calm expression. Even now, he still couldn't believe that Doflamingo would be beaten without resistance. Fly out. Good. And on the pier, Luo Lei looked at Yaoi if he didn't make a move, and sent Doflamingo flying as soon as he made a move, and nodded involuntarily. Fourth Raikage has learned armament hockey, observation hockey, marine 6 styles from Hoshigaki Kisame after eating the devil fruit in Zone U Demon's Ligong form. Therefore, the shortcomings that belong to ninjas are basically made up. Done. Strength and ability will have a quality transformation. When it comes to this, I have to talk about Yaoi's physique talent. Maybe it's the reason why I have been practicing ninjutsu all the time. It didn't take much time. Marine 6 styles, armament hockey, and observation hockey were all introduced by Yaoi, which made Luo Lei couldn't help but marvel. Doflamingo took the initiative to seek death, this is really the first time I've seen him. Hearing this, Hoshigaki Kisami's golden pupils flashed a smile, and said, Boss Luolei, if possible, let's leave West Blue and go to the Grand Line. The sea is huge. West Blue is really too small. Luolei thought about it for a while, and then said meaningfully, after the Doflamingo fiasco, Marine can't keep silent. I may be transferred from West Blue to Grand Line. The Grand Line. Hoshigaki Kisami's cheeks flashed a hint of war, and he folded his arms and said nothing more. Marshal Sengoku, what should I do with Naval Headquarters? Luolei murmured with the corners of his mouth slightly raised, it's been 3 years, and it's time to let the world know of our existence. How? Why is this? And in the pothole in the distance, Doflamingo felt that his head was not enough. Obviously it was a confident blow, but he was blasted out by the old man's punch. The speed of lightning was so fast that his observation haki couldn't keep up. Do not, will not, I'm Don Quixote Doflamingo. But, Doflamingo is Doflamingo. After the initial shock, I quickly recovered. He admits that he underestimated the West Blue T3 branch, and next, he will come for real. Swish. The next moment, a cracking sound rang out. Doflamingo's body appeared in a clearing in a flash. There are almost no signs. A terrifying momentum, accompanied by Doflamingo's will, violently rushed out, and went to suppress Luolei, Yaoi, and Hoshigaki Kisame on the pier. The king is on the sea, and the heaven and the earth are surrendered. This is the Conqueror's haki. Conqueror's haki. However, in the face of this overwhelming momentum, whether it was Luolei, Hoshigaki Kisame, Yaoi, it seemed that they were not affected in any way, but instead showed a hint of enlightenment. At the same moment, Conqueror's haki, Doflamingo broke out. Looks like Doflamingo is angry. Quote. Perceiving this terrifying momentum, in this sea area, the people who had just recovered from their fascination, once again made an uproar. But, what many people didn't expect is that Doflamingo's Conqueror's haki has just been released, but it is greeted by another 3, more powerful Conqueror's haki. But, what many people did not expect is that Doflamingo's Conqueror's haki has just been released, but 3 more powerful Conqueror's haki are ushered in. The air burst instantly. It seems that even the space is trembling slightly. 3 Conqueror's haki swept out, setting off 3 monstrous waves. Perhaps it was too powerful, and even the clouds in midair were smashed with one blow, and the island where the T3 branch was located began to tremble slightly. More importantly, compared to Doflamingo's Conqueror's haki, these 3 shares of Conqueror's haki give people the feeling that they are real. Heaven and earth surrender. Is this Conqueror's haki? How is that possible? Does Marine have Conqueror's haki too? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Quote. Quote. In the face of these 3 violent Conqueror's haki. In this sea area, countless people watching the battle exclaimed in an instant, showing a ghostly look. No way. It's so incredible. Marine was able to awaken Conqueror's haki, and 3 strands appeared all at once. Even Marine from the first branch of West Blue, headed by Alfred Rear Admiral, showed a look of astonishment. What are you kidding? West Blue. The 3 Marines of the T3 branch actually have Conqueror's haki. However, before everyone woke up from the surprise that Luolei and others had Conqueror's haki, the 3 violent Conqueror's haki collided with Doflamingo's Conqueror's haki. In an instant, this sea area trembled for a while, as if time had stood still. Boom! Another roar resounded. The confrontation of Conqueror's haki produced a terrifying vision of heaven and earth. I don't know when, countless black lightnings continued in the air, bursting wildly in the sky. However, only lasted for 3 seconds. Doflamingo's Conqueror's haki was smashed by a devastating blow. Immediately afterwards, the 3 Conqueror's haki swept out unabated, and the terrifying power even caused dense cracks in the building of the T3 branch, and the calm sea level set off a stormy sea. How is this possible? As for those watching the battle in this sea area, before he could react, he felt a buzzing sound in his mind, and the world in front of him suddenly went blank. After a few seconds, puff, puff, many unconscious people started to fall on the deck one by one. In less than a few seconds, there are only a few people watching the battle in this sea area, and they can still maintain consciousness, but Rao is so, it is also full of cold sweat, and the body is shaking. At this time, these people who can still remain conscious have not thought that. In the fish pond of West Blue, 4 extremely terrifying conquerors' haki can be sensed. Among them, Doflamingo's conqueror's haki will still be able to withstand it, but the other 3 conquerors' haki are simply tingling in the scalp. The only good news, perhaps these 3 conquerors' haki came and went quickly. After defeating Doflamingo's conqueror's haki, he was gradually restrained by Luolei, Yaoi, and Hoshigaki Kisame on the T3 branch. Otherwise, there would be no sober people in this sea area. This is. Perceiving conqueror's haki fading away, Alfred Rear Admiral stared blankly at the Marine soldiers who had collapsed on the ground around him. Obviously there were some things he couldn't react to. As the head of the first branch of West Blue, of course, I have heard of conqueror's haki on this sea, and I know it very well. In general, conqueror's haki is the haki of the chosen person among millions of people, that is, the king's qualification that stands above others. Although there are many characters who have conqueror's haki in New World, there are only a few strong people who can wrap it around their weapons to enhance their power, and can substantially attack the enemy without touching them within a certain distance. The result is good. He had just seen a conqueror's haki confrontation that was rarely seen even in New World. More importantly, in the strict Marine, the fact that the 3 Marines of the West Blue T3 branch have awakened conqueror's haki makes Alfred Rear Admiral feel unreal. Luolei, the head of the West Blue T3 branch, is really still Marine. Are 3 conquerors' haki stronger than me? Impossible. Marine can also awaken conqueror's haki, so strong. If you don't talk about martial arts, you really don't talk about martial arts. On the island, Doflamingo's sunglasses were shattered, and so was his pink feather coat. If you look carefully, you will find that Doflamingo is in a cold sweat and trembling all over. Xiong was so confident and rebellious that he felt Marine's deep malice towards him for the first time in West Blue. Especially he, these 3 guys from West Blue, just 3 old coins, can burst out such a powerful conqueror's haki. His strength is definitely not weak, but in the end he stayed in the fish pond of West Blue, pretending to be a pig and a tiger. And as Marine, he actually owns conqueror's haki, can you believe it? Anyway, Doflamingo didn't want to believe it, so he had to believe it. By this time, he finally understood why Staff Officer Crane didn't chase after him. It turned out that he wanted him to take the initiative to come to West Blue to seek abuse. For a while, Doflamingo felt as bad as eating shit. Sorry, I really regret it, knowing that he shouldn't have hurriedly stepped on the hornet's nest of West Blue. Well now, in front of countless people, he pretended to be the most high-profile coercion and was beaten the most viciously. Once he could not escape this disaster, he became the joke of the whole sea. Hee, it's still too weak. At this time, Luolei shook his head involuntarily as he looked at Doflamingo, whose expression was changing and in a state of confusion. At this stage, the 7 warlords of the sea system of the world government has not yet been implemented. If you guessed correctly, the current Doflamingo has not cultivated Paramesha string fruit to the awakened state, and his strength has not yet reached the peak, so it is still very simple to deal with him. At least, he, Hoshigaki Kisame, Yazuki can beat Doflamingo with ease. Boss Luolei, thanks to him. Beside him, Hoshigaki Kisame grinned, showing sharp teeth, and chuckled, otherwise, the 3 of us conquerors haki wouldn't wake up so easily. Yup, a sigh appeared on Luolei's cheek. After arriving in this world, because he has never faced and felt conqueror's haki, he is in a situation where he can't start with the cultivation of conqueror's haki. Result, at the moment of perceiving Doflamingo's conqueror's haki, he, Hoshigaki Kisame, and Yazuki understood the essence of conqueror's haki. There it is. He, Hoshigaki Kisame, Yazuki collectively broke out the scene of conqueror's haki. Conqueror's haki is actually the sublimation of the use of momentum. Right in front, Yaoi's mouth was slightly raised, and he said irritably, "Don't worry, in order to thank him, I will blow him up." Impossible. Conqueror's haki at this level, who are you? Listening to Luolei's conversation. Although Doflamingo was very angry and aggrieved, he took a deep breath and said in a suspicious tone, "You can't be just Marines. We are indeed more than Marine. Yaoi heard the words, looked at Doflamingo lightly, and said subconsciously, the three of us are ninjas. Ah, Doflamingo froze again. Ninja. Are these three Marines ninjas? Is there such a powerful ninja? Also awakened such a powerful conqueror's haki? Because of his cooperation with Kaido, one of the four emperors, he often goes to Wano-kuni and knows that there are ninjas in Wano-kuni, but when did ninjas become so powerful? Incredible. Also, Marine has such a strong ninja, why not transfer to naval headquarters? Wait a minute, Luolei seems to have been hidden in the snow because he offended celestial dragons. Doflamingo's mind was running fast, and he also knew the problems faced by naval headquarters. The stronger the West Bluet-3 branch, the naval headquarters will be more uncomfortable, right? Why, don't you believe it? Watching Doflamingo froze. The lightning-style chakra on Yaoi has skyrocketed again. From a distance, a sky-blue thunderbolt has wrapped Yaoi, making it as powerful and inviolable as the legendary Thor. Is it the unique energy of ninjas? Can't think too much about it. In the next instant, Doflamingo came back to his senses, gritted his teeth, opened his palm, and waved his 5 fingers at Yaoi Mang. 5 color strings. Swish, swish, swish. Accompanied by 5 piercing air-breaking sounds. I saw 5 transparent silk threads that cut off the air and cut towards Yaoi at a very fast speed. It's useless. Facing Doflamingo's attack, Yaoi didn't move, and when he clenched his fist, he blasted it 5 times in a row. Clang, clang. A few whispers sounded. The 5 threads of silk that Doflamingo punched out could cut iron like mud, but Yaoi's fist blew them up abruptly. Dropping ruffian string. 1 hit was unsuccessful. Doflamingo didn't care at all. While waving his hand, he made a nearly transparent thin silk thread from each of his 5 fingers, forming 5 forked silk threads similar to leaf rakes, and suddenly moved towards Yaoi's head from top to bottom. Come through. Clang, clang. This time Yaoi did not choose to do it. Instead, the lightning-style armor was used to forcibly defend against this attack, making the dropping ruffian string basically useless except for some sparks. No, the defense is too strong. The second attack was still unsuccessful. Doflamingo's brows were still wrinkled. The lightning armor covering Yaoi was stronger than expected. Even though he was attached to armament haki, it seemed that he did not break the defense. However, what Doflamingo didn't know was that the current Yaoi, after eating the devil fruit in Zone, Demons, and Thunder God, has transformed the armor of lightning style. Coupled with the armament haki he has learned, the defense has almost reached an ultimate. Haha, it's my turn to do it. Lightning style lariat. But, just at this time, with a sound of laughter, Yaoi turned into an afterimage, as fast as blue lightning. Not good. Spider's web wall. In the face of Yaoi who suddenly went into trouble. Doflamingo's observation haki didn't have time to react at all. He could only subconsciously use silk threads like spider webs to form a large web attached to armament haki in front of him. Boom. After a second, Yaoi, whose whole body was covered by lightning-style chakra, slammed into the spider web with one head, making a symphonic sound of gold and iron, followed by a tooth-crushing sound of metal rubbing. It's useless. You see this scene? Doflamingo was about to say something, but his voice stopped abruptly. Because, under his naked eyes, there was a crack in the big net that attached armament haki. Swipe. A crisp sound rang out. The great net that clings to armament haki shatters. Immediately, before Doflamingo could react, he felt like he was hit by a big mountain, and his head was buzzing. The powerful impact not only made his internal organs dislocated, but also made him vomit violently. After a few mouthfuls of blood, the body flew out. Recurrent violence. The next moment, Yaoi appeared in the sky above Doflamingo who was still flying upside down, focused lightning-style chakra on his elbow, and bombarded Doflamingo's stomach from top to bottom. What? A scream rang out. Doflamingo felt that his internal organs were about to explode, his body was bent into a bow shape, the expression on his cheeks was a little distorted, and instead of blood, he spit out acid water. However, this is just the beginning. Ray-Eye bomb. Yaoi seemed to feel more comfortable the more he fought. He opened his arms and hugged Doflamingo who was in pain in his arms. Immediately, without any warning, Doflamingo fell heavily to the ground. Rumbling. Another deafening roar resounded. The already crumbling West Bluet-3 branch trembled violently a few times. As for the place where Doflamingo was thrown, there was a deep pit more than 10 meters in diameter. And in the center of the pit, Doflamingo has changed beyond recognition, no longer in human form. Apparently it was completely blown up. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.